Good morning. It's 7 a.m. on this beautiful Tuesday, 5th of July, August.
Yes,
yeah.
We're in August, not July.
Aro. Aro.
Month is really flying. Not the month, actually the year.
Vivian, do the intro. Do the intro.
A very good morning to each and every one of you who has tuned in this beautiful Monday morning. I'm just from mentioning to my colleagues that today's cold is actually piercing.
Yes.
Like it's extremely cold outside. I don't know.
But you should can camera zoom. Vivian has turned a bit pink because of the cold. She's turned slightly pink. Mogaka.
And what did you turn?
Zoom.
What did you turn? Did you turn navy blue?
Oh my goodness. Shots fired. Shots fired.
Kama ni baridi ya Nairobi inafanya you complain.
If you know what navy blue is, Mike.
Yeah,
no, our producer director Okinyi he's black to navy blue. Guys, you need to see Okinyi.
Yeah, Okinyi is
navy blue,
navy blue too.
Yes.
But kama mna complain to Nairobi is cold. Imagine a person who is living in Kinango.
I can only imagine.
And places close to Mount Kenya.
Yeah.
My friend.
Yeah.
But apparently they're used to.
Yeah, they are.
There's a way you get adapted to that environment, and when they come to Nairobi, it's like wamekuja towards the, is it Tropic of Cancer or something? It's hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Vivian,
it's a beautiful morning. It's a very beautiful morning, and we are more than pleased that you have chosen to start off your day right here with us. As is the usual, you know that we allow you to come through or to come join us, and you can do that via our lines. That is 0716-103-301. We have a WhatsApp line that is very, very active, so you can send in your messages concerning the conversations that we will be having today. Of course, Victor will be tackling politics. He'll be talking matters politics, and today being a Wednesday, it is Health Tuesday, and I'll be having a conversation on fibroids. It will be all about uterine fibroids, and I'll be joined by one Dr. Sarah Mora, who is a general health practitioner with over 16 years experience in general practice, and she'll be here for us to talk matters fibroids. You know, last month, that is the month of July, was Fibroids Awareness Month, and this is a conversation that should be never ending. It's excuse me, it's a conversation that should not have a timeline, and for that reason we will be talking about that today, so you definitely want to stay tuned for that conversation. Mike,
yes,
tell me what's up.
You know, when it comes to matters health, I think it's something that needs to be talked about on a daily basis, if possible, because it involves the well-being of the people. So when you talk about fibroids and other maladies that mostly affect women, I think it's a conversation that should be taken on a very, very serious instant. Welcome to the program. I want to interest you with a quote by Michael Jordan. He said, some people want it to happen. Some wish it would happen. Others make it happen. Some people want it to happen. Some wish it would happen. Others make it happen. So in that sphere, where do you lie? Ask yourself that. Victor, talk to us.
Absolutely. Today I want to take a look at the political compass, and I love that quote, Mike. Thank you for that. Let's take a look at the political compass that we are seeing in the country. So many things are happening currently when it comes to political parties. We have got the third force, you know, that is purportedly being formed by young politicians, or other force that is opposed to President William Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga's unity. So that force is somewhat trying to bring, let me just say, another force, yes, for lack of a better word, in the political arena. So I want to take a look at the political compass, where the direction we are taking as a nation. Yesterday we talked about how it's going to affect the next general election, but I want us to go deeper and now include, because we are yet to see many political parties being formed in the country. So I have got three people. That is Peter Njeru, who is a political analyst, will be here on set, as well as Mushanga Kirago, who is a lawyer and a governance expert. And finally, Wanjiku Thiga, who is a national youth leader, DCP party. They'll be here very shortly. But I have to tell you, Mike and Vivian,
Yes.
way back in campus,
Yes.
I can see something here that youngsters enthralled with singing games. That is the 97th edition of the music festival happening in...
Kicks off in Meru.
Exactly, yesterday. And I think in the history of the music festival, nobody has ever scored 98%, apart from me, in the solo verse category.
Oh, really?
I Met a Thief, which was performed in Mombasa. Yes.
Back in the year?
Sisemi.
Yeah, but I mean, as a high schooler, this was one of the best times to be, you know, in high school.
Yes.
For sure. If you participated in music festivals, drama festivals, you know that this was a time. This was the time that we were all looking forward to.
Yes.
And I absolutely loved it. I also did solo verses, but well, I didn't get to.
Give us a line, Your Majesty. What was it all about?
Can I even remember?
You see?
I don't know if I can remember any. None is coming to mind at the moment, but yeah.
But you did a solo verse.
I did solo verses.
Mine
I
was
did
a set
the choral.
Under class?
Under class 0012.
Ladies
Yeah,
and
it
gentlemen.
was so beautiful.
Mike never did anything.
Absolutely loved
My
it.
friend, let
Mike
me tell you.
never did anything.
Listen, let me tell you.
Mike, what did you do?
Back in high school, I was in the school band, and we did perform nationally, and we became third place nationally.
Third place nationally.
Yes. Class 938H.
That is instrumentals, yes.
Yes, instrumentals.
Yeah.
We were so good
Okay.
that we met our match.
All
Very
right.
good. Okay, so that is happening. And of course, we are seeing a lot of art, pomp and color, Kaga Girls and Meru School hosting that, and it's going to be quite a fun fair in Meru. I'll be there, that I can promise you. Meru, I'll be there. All right. So here we are. What do you have on the front page of the billing, the Star, Mike?
Yes.
Just on the front page.
Yes, on the front. This is what is captured on the front page. Audit unearths payslip crisis in public sector. Alarm sounded as employees go home empty-handed. There's a tabulation here of the most affected institutions. We start with the police, KPLC, SHIF, that is formerly NHIF, Judiciary, AFC, IPRA, NITA, NLC. The tabulation is there and shows the number of the staff taking home less than a third of their gross pay. Parental consent is another story that is carried on the front page of the Star. Parental consent policies fueling teen pregnancies. That story is told on page 2. Long road to justice for girl 8 defiled by a 65-year-old. That story is told on page 3 of the Star newspaper. Opposition in unity on trial as rival camps field candidates. Read that story on page 6 of the Star newspaper. Vivian.
All right. With me is the copy of the Standard. And on the front page, we have Jogo House Wars. Yes, this is Matters Education. And it says a silent but escalating power struggle is paralyzing the Ministry of Education, where Cabinet Secretary Julius Ogambo is being openly contradicted by his two principal secretaries who seem too powerful. From fee guidelines to ghost schools and curriculum policy, the confusion is deepening, leaving parents, students, and MPs questioning who really controls the education agenda. And that is a story that has been laid out on page 4 of the Standard. Another story highlighted on the top page of the Standard newspaper. We have Hustler Fund, an economic sinkhole. The civil society wants Hustler Fund script, citing massive losses, high defaults, and claims of political misuse in a scathing new report. And then That is a story that is on page 6. And the final story that has been highlighted on this paper this morning is 65 billion shillings debt cripples the health fund. And that's a story that has been fleshed out on page 8 of the Standard. Victor?
Allow us to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to take you through the front page of the Daily Nation and then get into our substantive discussion. My guest will be here shortly, so stay with us. Don't go away.
Ladies and gentlemen, the stage is set for CHAN 2024. Please watch out for every thrilling goal, every breathtaking moment on our radio stations, on our TV platform, and all on our social media pages. CHAN Iko KBC.
In a world where news is ever-changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
All right, welcome back. It's now time for us to get into this discussion. 15 minutes past 7 a.m. Welcome to the program People and Politics, being a Tuesday, 5th day of August 2025. Okay, so my guest, Peter Njeru, political analyst, and Mushanga Kiragu, who is a lawyer and a governance expert, all in studio, waiting for Wanjiku Thiga to be here in the next 1 minute. But nevertheless, the train has to leave. And here we go. Peter, do you know the story of Peter in the Bible?
Very well.
Who are you in the Bible?
Yeah, the Bible.
You are not one of those best people we can talk about today.
The biblical Peter is a super extrovert, a man of great conviction,
and
a man who goes for it. He's a man who knows the real truth and when to let it go. And therefore, I borrow from that Peter trait.
But what happened in the last minute? Ulimfanyia ule mzee ile kitu. Welcome to the program.
Though he also came back strong and became the foundation on which the church was built up. So those moments of highs and lows in life is a person are expected. And comeback is also almost assured when you are a bitter.
I love the way you have coined it. I love the way you've coined it. Mushanga,
Yes.
you're welcome.
Thank you so
Welcome
much.
to the program. So, gentlemen, let's take a look at what's happening. We have got the political compass, and I don't know who and how we are going to get it very clear, because where we are as a nation is either we are at the North Pole, South Pole, East or West, but somewhat we are somewhere, and we are trying to get our bearing as a nation. So, Peter, let me ask you, first of all, if you were to put that compass right now on a flat surface, where do you think the North Pole is taking us politically?
Politics is about life, my
Yeah.
brother Victor. Politics is a way of life. Every morning, every moment you wake up, there is an aspect of negotiation in whatever aspect of life you are taking up. And this is when you're negotiating with your children, with your spouse, when you're negotiating with your neighbor, when you're negotiating with your employer, there is an issue of bringing out the best of facts that suits you on your side. And therefore, politically speaking, when you look at our country now, the negotiation arena is at its best. But one of the areas that I find is a weakness in our way of negotiating is that majority of us as Kenyan people want to look at things as black and white.
Yeah.
And there's no entirely white side and there's no entirely black side. There are gray areas that we need to have a keen eye to exploit. For example, when we have to speak about what the opposition are agitating for, in their quest for that agitation, you see like they are trying to portray the other side as entirely black, which is not the case. And on the same side, when you listen to those that are speaking from the current administration side, as they agitate for that which they think is right on their side, they paint the other side as entirely black. And therefore, in between, there is the reality. The two extremes, like you've called them, the north and south, and then there is the reality that the government has done so many things the right way, and of course, some things the wrong way. And the opposition has also highlighted some things that require attention, and these things are legitimate. And on the same side, the opposition is trying to demonize so many things that are before God, very right and very correct, and decisions made with the best intentions of the country. And therefore, it paints the wrong picture and delivers the wrong message to the ordinary citizen who wants the best leadership at place. And all what they are hearing on a daily basis are innuendos, misinformation, miscommunication, lies, anger, hate. You know, it does not build the country that an ordinary person really wants to see. And therefore, my advice, or rather my comments concerning where to get a middle ground, is that those that God has given the responsibility to be in the opposition, they should do so objectively. When the government says they are building a road, let us clap our hands and say we need this road because it will connect our people, it will connect producers with the consumers. It will connect our agricultural products to the market. And this is one of the ways of growing our economy. When the government says we are expanding our airport, let us say this will place our country at a better place globally for international connections, that we can have direct flights from Washington to Nairobi. Let us celebrate that. But when there are issues that require concern, issues of poor governance, let us speak them out in a way that is objective. Let us speak them out in a way that delivers the correct criticism. And therefore, in the same way, opposition too, they need to really highlight what are the available options. Because they cannot say everything is bad, and daily I'm buying airtime to say everything is bad, and I'm saying I'm the government in waiting, but I'm not giving a progressive solution, alternative
Basically, that's
projects.
the nature of politics. In opposition, you cannot praise the other party.
Victor, is not about praising. It's not about praising. It's about being objective and saying the truth as it is.
Your opponent to the best.
It is wrong, it is wrong. It is right, it is right. Right and wrong cannot change depending on situations. And this is what I want to tell the country.
Let's just get it right. Would you praise your opponent if you're in a political seat or you are running for a political seat? Would you praise your opponent that, you know, Victor's done this, that's very good. Victor's done that, that's very good. And yet you are in the same position.
If you don't want to praise, don't demonize. tell us what you want to do for the country. But feeding Wanjiku with innuendos and lies and propaganda is not the way to build the economy. Everybody wants to see Kenya getting to.
Okay, let me get from Wakili. Wakili, you know, the political fulcrum that we are seeing right now, we have got, it's oscillating. Either it's on the other side, the extreme side, and we have got, based on what is also said, if it's good, it's good. But it's also bad, it's also bad. But there's a gray area in between. That's where we are oscillating as a country, politically speaking. We have got so many forces coming up, all right? And towards 2027 election, we are going to see many of them getting formed. What do you think is a political compass showing us or directing us as a country?
Thank you so much, Victor. And I think I've always said this, that there are only two sectors that thrive in this country as we speak. The first sector is the political sector.
Yes.
Because politically speaking, even a child who is born today knows that there's some politics that is ongoing in the country.
Yeah.
The second sector is corruption. Those are two sectors that are driving. And you see this corruption is being used to fuel the political class. That's why it's driving anyway. So you find that politically speaking, this country is doing very well. We are all discussing about politics. We're all discussing about 1 term, 2 term. And that's not what is envisioned in the Constitution. You see, the Constitution has a political bearing. It has what we expect of an ideal leader. It has what we expect of an ideal government.
Yes.
I'm guided to Article 73 of the Constitution, which gives me the requisite criteria of choosing a leader. So who are we supposed to choose? Who is this person who is coming?
Article 73.
Article 73.
Okay.
Who is this person that you're supposed to choose? What values do they possess that you're supposed to look into? We speak into the values of integrity. We speak into the values of accountability. Such values are very key in the Constitution. So that's where we ought to draw the political fulcrum from. That's where we ought to draw all the arguments from. And when we discuss about government services, you know, I tend to sharply disagree with my senior when we talk about, for example, the aspect of development. You know, development is not a privilege that is given by the government. Development, by virtue of Article 6 of the Constitution, is a right that is guaranteed to the citizens of the country. So if you're talking about the sectors that were at the beginning, 1963 when we had independence, healthcare, when you talk about education, when you talk about sectors such as security, then what is the bearing of the country? If you're talking about progressive realization, and we are still in the political scene, we are not actually exploring what is in the Constitution, we'll never get there. So we need to make sure that these sectors thrive. And where we have criticism, we ought to take criticism very positively. If we say that, for example, I've had my senior talking about the airport. If you say that the deal that has been struck with Adani is not transparent, if you say that the public-private partnership under Section 54 of the Public-Private Partnership Act has not been followed to the letter, then that's what we mean exactly. We need to see public participation playing out. That's why the public is there. That's why the sovereign power belongs to the people by virtue of Article 1. So all these things need to involve the public. If you're doing things behind the scenes and you want us to just clap for you and cheer you on, and we don't know what you're doing, then that beats logic and that beats good governance. That makes your sector of politics thrive, but the aspect of governance fall.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's welcome Wanjiku Thiga. She's here. She's the National Youth Leader, DCP Party. Wanjiku, good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Victor.
Nairobi traffic, right?
Yes.
Unexpected.
Yeah.
Karibu.
Not just jazoea bado nimekuwa ndani wiki tatu. I'm trying to acclimatize now, so my apologies.
What did you just say?
Yeah.
You're getting accustomed to
political
the outside world.
Yeah. That's a political reality that I'm undergoing as
Welcome. This is the freedom we enjoy.
But I appreciate freedom.
You're a fighter. You are a
Yes,
fighter.
thank you.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
We are trying to look at the political compass that we are trying to maneuver and get the direction as a country. Please, what's your opening remarks on this? Because it seems that either we are on the north side, south pole, east or west, we are still going around the compass as a country.
Okay, thank you.
According to you, where is the compass showing us?
I think the compass is pointing to the direction of a new political culture coming in. We're having a new political culture where now young people are building a new generation of political honesty. And exactly that's what this state has failed to give young people. And now young people are taking charge of their destinies, of their future today. And for me, it's a welcome opportunity. I've invested so much time in raising political consciousness of young people. I've trained over 15, 20 counties, asking young people, you know, the person who is political, we have to be involved in politics. And 2024, seeing young people now rise to the occasion was such a wonderful moment for me.
Yeah.
And Thomas Sankara says that we must dare invent the future. Young people, in fact, are inventing the present. And for me, is to welcome all young people to DCP party as we invent the future and as we talk about it today and what you're going to do post-2027. Yes.
Okay. You know, I'm asking this question because there is another formation that is already formed. DCP party was formed not too long ago. We also have another Kenya Moja.
Yeah.
So when you look at Kenya Moja, it slightly sits over the fence with the Kenya Kwanza. Whoever came up with that name probably played around with it. But then now, there'll be so many forces. But let me call this the third force now. The third force to mean we have got President William Ruto here, we have got opposition leader Raila Odinga, we have got Rigathi Gachagua. Those three people, they are oscillating somewhere in between the compass. But now there's another force being formed by the youngsters in the political arena. How is it going to influence 2027 elections, Wanjiku?
In its own way, and what I love about youth coming together, youth organizing, and being able, Kenya Moja being able to truly organize. And I think you've seen how this state truly hates dissent, doesn't protect dissent, and true democracy must protect dissent. It's a force that is showing that young Kenyans are now going to participate, not just through, because previously we've seen young people being involved in the electoral process through as agent of chaos, you know, majorly. But now we are seeing young people coming out in a different way, showing how they can organize and truly in a productive way contribute to the political economy of the country. So for me, it's the new force is welcomed, because anybody who is promoting true democracy, who is for social change, is a welcome opportunity for the country.
Yeah.
But for me, my question is how will they support young people, even at the end of the day? Are young people going to have opportunities to learn, to run for office? And that's what DCP is different about, because we have even quotas. We have an agreed quota of party tickets that young people are going to access. And we know, and also to offer fair and just nomination process. Because when 2022 I was running for office, I didn't access a just and fair nomination process, and that's how my party ticket went. For me, I lead from a place of empathy and experience. That sometimes true and progressive leaders, their chances are taken away because of, you know, election malpractices, and you know, and you having political party leaders that do not really embody and support young people. Which for me, and it's very clear for us at DCP party, young people are at the center of national politics.
Is there any threat to the DCP from the new formation?
We don't see any threat at the moment. We are the most popular party at the country, even as being the newest party formed. We continue speaking the language of Kenyans, and the reason why we don't see any threat, it's because for us, we listen to Kenyans and we embody what Kenyans want. And we are leading the social change. And for real, you're seeing us paying the price, because now we are the people who are abducted. We are the people who are going through political torture for just voicing what Kenyans are saying. And for me, really, it's the youth perspective and continuing and coming out from 3 weeks of torture and abduction and the arrest and trumped up charges. I know I have an ongoing case now in court. And still fighting and still remaining consistent on the front line. It shows that DCP remains remains at the forefront of social change for Kenya.
Great. Peter, I mean, when you listen to that, and then now talking about ahead of 2027, because let's not shy away from this. Every political party and every formation right now, every movement in the political arena right now, it's towards 2027, not 2032. It's about 2027. When we get there, we'll cross that bridge and then forge ahead. When you listen to Wanjiku and Kirago, all of them are, the youth should take their rightful places. And that is where we have got the youthful leaders forming this formation. Do you think it's going to form an alternative to the current government, who is also seeking to retain power come 2027?
That's a very good line of thought, my brother Victor. Before I give my reaction to that, I wish to really give my weight into what my little brother, my younger brother said about my comment on celebrating whatever that is good, and also lamenting and giving alternative views to that which we find as wanting. Because all those scenarios do always play at one time or another.
Yeah.
When I put into perspective the issue of a good project, like say airport expansion, I didn't speak about say the Adani deal. I spoke about it as an example to something that can be proposed to be done, not that which has previously been proposed. When I spoke about a road being done to connect markets with producers, I was not speaking about the expressway or the Thika superhighway. I was speaking about a project that touches on connectivity. And therefore, trying to say that what I had brought into perspective was the wrong way to look at things, I think as a senior, it's important to take note of that so that for purpose of clarity. My sister Diga's perspective is great because youth form a large perspective of our Kenyan population. We are talking of a staggering 70%. And therefore, any family, any community, any government that takes the place of youth for granted in the current dispensation, that is totally unfair and wrong. You cannot look down upon 70% of your population and expect to transform the society, to transform the community, to transform the nation. And therefore, that's why we see every political formation right now, not only the DCP or the ODM or the UDA or these other parties that are being formed now, every party is claiming to be the savior for the youth. It's not a reserve for the DCP only, it's across the board. And therefore, when we look at the matters of also putting youth into a place where they can make progressive decisions concerning the society that God has put them in, that is the way to go for any progressive nation, community, tribe. And I am aware that every party has an arm for the youth.
Yes.
Every party. And therefore, I differ with my sister that that's a preserve for DCP. When you do the DNA of very political party, it is trying to entice the youth to work with them. She has waded into the issue of political intolerance, which all of us are privy to. And that's something that we shouldn't expect to happen in a civilized society. There should be a higher level of tolerance where every party, every family, every school, every institution, every government is willing to listen to every contradicting voice and be able to factor those voices in decision making. And so I tend to flow with my sister concerning the issue of political intolerance and say abductions to people who have dissenting voices is uncalled for. And say even when we dissent also, we dissent in a way that is civil. We should not dissent in a way that throws stones to the police. We should not dissent in a way that that throws abusive words to the leaders we elected ourselves. I am aware that most of us were in the UDA party prior to 2022. And it is the government that we put in place. Tail and tooth, we were there and we made the decision that this is the leadership we want. And because now some of us have a dissenting thinking, we think now we made a mistake. We should be gentlemen enough, so to speak, to wait, arm ourselves with the vote and the ID card ahead of 2027. The elders who want to put in place an alternative government, they should not be busy spreading hate, spreading tribal inclined statements across the country, isolating certain regions of the country and alleging they are more superior than other regions of the country in the interest of agitating for 2027. Let us say, yes, we have an alternative voice. this is what we stand for. This is how best we would want our country to be
What
led.
is this? Allow me to... okay, you've not answered my question directly as I wanted. But then now, there is this common denominator here that you've talked about, all of you, the youth factor. Why is it so important? In 1 minute, why is it important?
The youth factor is important to every political formation, Victor, because elections are about numbers.
Yes.
The majority will have their way, the minority will have their say. And so the youth factor in the coming days, actually from the last 2 elections, the youth factor has been key because they have the numbers.
Okay.
And so nobody should cheat anyone that there is a political formation that is against the youth.
Thank you. Nobody's against the youth. And by the way, when Jiku will tell us your story off camera.
Yes.
There is this aspect, Wakil, because when you look at the youth, the bigger voting bloc, a majority of them have not even taken their, they've not taken their voters card, unless IBC gives us a new window for that. But then now, why is that voting bloc so important for the politician and never to be wished away? Because when you look at the new formation, Kenya Moja is geared toward that. DCP party, Wanjiku says, is solely centered, not solely centered, but a majority, the DNA of DCP is also with the youth. Why is it so important?
Probably, Victor, before I get to your question, allow me in 30 seconds to respond to my senior. You know, waiting for the next election is the easiest escape route that you can actually have. Right now, we have problems in this country. You know, if you want to fix problems, you don't have to necessarily be in office. You can actually voice out your concerns. Freedom of expression is there because this is a government we chose, as he rightfully said, and we ought to bring it to account. As we chose it, we have to also bring it to account. So I think we have to also express ourselves in aspects that are not going right in this country as the youth. So direct to your question, the youth factor is very important to the extent that, first of all, the numbers. 75% of this country is actually made up of the youth, 75% of the population. If you look at the latest statistics by virtue of the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, we have around shy of 50 million people. So 75% of that are actually youth. When you get to the aspect of the voters card now, that's where we need to actually sensitize the youth. If at all, we want to get these political positions, if at all, we also want to get to the table. Because, you know, now the other aspect that the political parties have actually tried to, you know, in a way shy away from is the aspect of giving these people the actual political voice in the spaces that they're supposed to be in. If, for example, say that you formed a youth wing, as DCP party, for example, Wanjiku is here, they have formed a youth wing, and they have been entrenched in that youth wing, but they've not been given the chance to run for office where they're going to be making the actual decisions in government. So that is the discussion, that's where we want to take the discussion to. So the youth factor is very important. They need to get, they need to take out their votes. IBC needs to scale up its activities. They need to move with speed so that these people, the 75%, can actually translate to the ballot. Yes.
Okay, I want to take a quick break. And when we come back, the aspect of listening to that voice, and again also the formation of the third way or the third force is somewhat, according to political pundits, I don't know whether you're going to talk about this, is either to weaken Gachagua, right, and President William Ruto. But why is Raila Odinga not being mentioned in this? Let's talk about that when we come back. Stay with us.
My name is Salim Vuria, the Cabinet Secretary, Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports, Republic of Kenya. Dear Kenyans, we are ready to host CHAN 2024 tournament. Let us show the world our patriotism, our passion for football, and our warm hospitality. This is not just a tournament, it is a celebration of our nation's pride. Join us in Nairobi as we welcome the continent and the world to experience the thrill of CHAN 2024. It is our time to shine. Let us make CHAN 2024 a great success and rally behind our team, Harambee Stars. Hashtag Jaza Study.
And welcome back. Okay, so let's get into it. The show continues. I ask a question, and Wanjiku, the question I want to ask basically is, when you listen to the new formation, that is whatever is coming up, it's either geared to weaken Rigathi Gachagua, his push, popularity, and his influence, as well as President William Ruto. Why are the two the main point of focus for any formation coming up?
Sorry, repeat the question.
The formation of the youngsters and all, the Kenya Moja and any other third force that will be formed moving forward is either meant to weaken Rigathi Gachagua or President William Ruto. Why?
I think this is a new political mindset that is being also thrown into the ball, and they're also having their own agenda. Yeah. And you know, true democracy will protect anyone who has their own ideas, and it's a political right. We've seen a lot of injustices, especially to the youth sector, a sector that I belong to. And we're also seeing, especially DCP party and its party leader being, a narrative being connoted that is a tribal leader. But I keep saying that identity is not tribal. It's not tribalism. Yeah. And that's what we are trying to being fixed, and a state-driven propaganda and agenda, which is quite unfair. If we do manifesto tracking for UDA, it's really ranking on the low. In this new outfit that is also coming up, it's because every Kenyan, when we do manifesto tracking for the UDA manifesto, it's poorly done. We have a lot of unsupported young people. We have unsupported parents. We have crippling education. At the end of the day, we see even right now rice farmers in Moya, in the country, having now new incoming container coming in, and you see already farmers are not even supported to the end. The student funding model, when I speak to young leaders and the students, they told me we were asked to review the student funding model, and we did that work. But when we did that work, we have a report, but we've never been given the opportunity to present the report. So again, it's the unheard voices that are coming up and forming a new political formation or movement that seems to drive their own agenda. But as DCP party, we welcome anybody who has our own, because our agenda is like of almost every Kenyan. For us, is social change, and Kenya Moja also is pushing social change. So for us, many people say at the top, people are collaborating, and for us, we are really welcoming anybody who has the Ruto must go, you know. And we don't say just Ruto as in Ruto is just one individual, it's Ruto and everything that he represents. Yeah. For us, so that we can move post-2027 is to regain the economy of the country, prioritizing youth issues, especially because you've seen overuse of drugs. We've seen mental health deteriorating. Where I come from, young people, I think we have 2 or 3 young people committing suicide per month. I come from Juja. Yeah. And you see that's a heavily youth-driven area. So for me, youth realities is something that I go through every day. And for me, it's to see anybody who is for the youth is a plus for me. And I know you have asked the question, why is the youth right now the most ideal or the most sought for voter bloc? But it's because there's now a power shift. Young people just don't want to participate in elections, they want to run for elections. And Muchanga here has spoken about DCP just leading, but we are leading. We sit in the NEC committee where decisions of the party are being made, and we are over 7 actually. So you can be assured that the lens that DCP looks at politics is the youth lens. It must, and for us, we are not only participating in political party, but we're also going to run for office.
Again, when you look at the whole spectrum, there is no other political party that has ever won an election in Kenya without an alliance. It's a tall order. And maybe, do you think, again, Wakili, if that is the case, do you think the youth can get it all at once without any alliance? Yes, this 75% of the voting bloc belongs to the youth, but again, there is that aspect of voter apathy.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. If you look historically at the elections that have been held, and I'll begin from probably 2002, when you had the wave that actually came into place. That's the NAC Kenya that actually came into place and got into government. We go to 2013, where we had TNA, URP, combining forces, and they won the election. We get to 2017, we had Jubilee that actually won the election. We get to 2022, we had UDA and all the other parties, Ford Kenya, all those other parties, they came together. So realistically speaking, it's quite impossible for any political party on its own self, say DCP, to win an election on its own self. So it needs alliances, like-minded people. So on that particular aspect, as the youth, we have to have kind of a strategy also, because you can't move aimlessly, you can't kick aimlessly. You can't say that, for example, we are leaderless. That aspect of being leaderless also has costed us a lot. So we also have to join political parties that align to the interest of the youth. For example, if you talk about DCP, she has voiced very important concerns. I sat in the committee that reviewed the new funding model. It was appointed in September 2024. So I can tell you for sure that we aired out so many things. We said that, hey, look, we have a problem in the education sector. The HELB funds are not actually getting to the students on time. We said a lot of things. Scholarships are not being given on time. These weighting factors that you're actually using to categorize people in bands, they are not actually valid, so we need to review them. So all those things that we gave as recommendations, we were not able to present them to the appointing authority, simply because probably he saw that these recommendations are too good to be implemented right now. So I need to have a re-election first, and then I'm going to implement them. I don't know. So there's so many things that we need to fix in this country. As a youth nation, we need to have like-minded political parties, so that then from there we can forge ahead and we can have a voters bloc that is very strong, and we can then move from whatever has been there historically, that we need an alliance so that we can win an election.
Is there anything that is most likely to weaken any other third force ahead of 2027 election? That's this to all of you, starting with you, Peter.
Yes, probably
fourth force.
I may
or any existing force.
Allow me to start by wading into the conversation of the third force and whether it is weakening UDA and DCP. The reality is that every entrance in the political space or into every competition brings a shift in preferences, increases the options for selection, and therefore when there is a third force coming into play, it's competing for the same voters that the other parties were competing for. And therefore, it makes the competition more exciting. It makes the competition more intense because there are more interested parties. And therefore, the entry of another force, we may not ascribe it or prescribe it either to DCP or to the current administration. We can really observe that the competition ahead of 2027 is becoming more intense. And therefore, every political player has a duty to put all the ducks in line ahead of time so that they are able to win a winning team. And therefore, having a third force, a fourth force, a fifth force, all those point to a possibility of a runoff.
All those forces?
Yes, they point to a possibility of a runoff ahead of after the 2027. And therefore, to avoid a runoff, I expect to see now all these political colors doing what you've just talked about, doing coalitions, so that we consolidate our support basis to form one formidable force that can take it on the first round. And I will not be surprised if there are surprises. I will not be surprised if there are surprises that guys that we thought could work together, working together ahead of 2027. Just like I was not surprised when the returned Prime Minister, Honorable Raila Odinga, made a decision to do a handshake with the Kenya Kwanza government. And today they are working together. You also posed a question concerning the position of Honorable Raila Odinga ahead of 2027. And I am from the school of thought that what Raila Odinga chose to do last year was the best for him, the best for the country, the best for every Kenyan citizen. Because the country was headed in the wrong direction, and Raila's entry into the leadership space kind of stabilized the country, at least for now. And we hope this stability will bring on board more development, more sound policies, more goodies to the youth and to the Wanjiko, so that ahead of 2027, the current animosity and bitter and anger with a significant majority of the Kenyan people can reduce. And looking into 2027, again, I want to also say that it is quite early today. My brother talked about the formation between URP and UDA. That came too late into the day, and they carried the day in 2013. Talk about the Jubilee. The coalition also was done too late into the evening. And they carried the day. The Kenya Kwanza administration was made too late into the day, and they carried in 2022. And therefore, now we are talking about 2 years ahead. And that's why a smart politician now will slow down in high velocity political strategies and read the mood on the ground, because the voter is the one who will decide. Once the voter's needs have been met, he will make a decision that probably today we think it will not be made. Because 2 years in Kenyan politics is a whole world.
That's 2 years. That's a long time. A day is enough. We never saw that day. Nobody ever saw President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga shaking hands at Harambee House. The entire world was confused. You're very right. Today we're still talking about it. We'll not be surprised to see any surprises, Peter. You are very right on that. But Wanjiku, if you can also just answer that question, the question I asked, because now, how is it going to affect 2027 election? Okay, the question again that I want all of you to answer. We have other forces and other cards not being played yet. Let's just mention them. Matiang'i has declared that he wants to be the president. You know, Maraga is here, emeritus. We have got DCP also, fronting candidates here and there. But then now, there's also another party of Jubilee still being formed. And President Uhuru Kenyatta has not spoken yet. The Jubilee party is going to be out there probably. We don't know yet. So how is it going to affect the political landscape? Number one, with Mount Kenya, the voting bloc. Number two, how is it going to affect the voting bloc of the youth? And number three, Raila Odinga factor. Wanjiku, 3 good questions.
Yeah, very valid questions. I will begin with the Raila Odinga factor. And for me, Raila has quite lost his ground. And we've seen him not being even able to address people who are really alive to him. I would even say here, honestly, there are very strong youth leaders from his backyard who have visited me in DCP and have really spoken of they're tired of inheriting broken systems, especially from the ODM party, because they remain unheard with their party. And this is what actually is the biggest problem for the state. It's refusing to listen to its young people. And the power shift is already beginning, and young people are rebelling Raila Odinga, because you see the different generations will accept Baba as what he says, and what he says is the truth and the Bible. But young people are challenging him. You can't tell us that if I don't have an ODM ticket, I can't vie, that I can't be able to access my ground. You can't tell me that you are in the government right now, but still as a young person, I'm still not able to access, government services.
Yeah.
So for young people and for Raila, he is losing ground, and he has realized he is, and that's why ODM is speaking in two different voices, through Sifuna and through him. You had Mheshimiwa Millie also spoke in another way. So they're staying in government, yes, but they're trying to remain relevant to the ground and trying to have some hold. That's why you have having Sifuna and Millie speaking a different kind of language than Baba. But this is Baba still controlling ODM, but he's staying by saying, we're not in government. But then again, we're in government, we are listening to the ground, and see, Sifuna says we are not going to support Ruto. He said he won't read any paper, any direction that has been given to say we are supporting Ruto in 2027. So ODM, Raila factor is really diminishing, and he has realized that, and I'm expecting him to bolt out of the broad-based government that they have done. But they say they want to implement NADCO, but where is also the multi-sector working group? But I will say, and I know, they won't implement anything.
Okay.
I spent 3 weeks with DCI, anti-terror, and NIS. I can tell you that they truly, truly hate young people of Kenya, because young people have refused. I've really refused kupangwa, by the way. Ile imbo aliimba 2022 sipangwingu ni ukweli. Because at the end of the day, if we remain unsupported, we are going to organize. And you see, people see young people going to the street as rebellion, but it's not rebellion. It's us just speaking out, because it seems that the state only listens to young people when they're out on the streets. Yes, and Jubilee being in politics, I would want to say this. DCP, we have fenced Mount Kenya, that I will say openly. But good thing is that when we fenced Mount Kenya, Jubilee was inside. They are not outside, so we are going to collaborate
that is
in
going
one
to be
way.
A very serious duel.
Yes, it is, and I keep on challenging my counterparts in Jubilee. Where are you? We need to see you. We can't be only the people in the face of opposition, and you say you're part of opposition, but you're not contributing to the social change you want to see. So for me, I keep telling them, we need to start showing the play. You need to also now, playing the opposition card and supporting the opposition front.
Yeah.
But more and more cards are coming out. We are seeing. The other day I saw Najib Balala saying he's the presidential Jubilee candidate. Is it true or not, or is this a propaganda? We have to see. So, like he said, 2 years is quite some time. So we'll keep seeing new cards being thrown into the ball, and every day they change the political shift of the game. Yes.
Okay. Wakili.
Yes.
Answer my question as well. All right.
I think very interesting insights have been given by my seniors, both on my right and on my left. I'll say this, that you see, political formations in this country ought to take a different toll. Political formations ought not to be, kind of region-based. These things ought to get out there and become national things. Because, look, if DCP, I look into DCP, Jubilee, all these parties are speaking about the issues that are there with the common mwananchi. They're not speaking about the issues that are there with the Mount Kenya person. They're not speaking about the issues, for example, if you talk about Western, they're not speaking about the issues that are there with the Western people. You see, these political parties ought to take the national figure. If you want to forge ahead, if you want to make milestones, if you want to make political parties not a vehicle to running into the elections, but a vehicle for leadership, then we ought to get out of our comfort zones in the regions. But that aside, I think 2 years is too short of a time, because the force that you're dealing with is a force that has been deeply entrenched into the system. We need strategy, we need time so that we can get him out of office. Look, if you're looking into ensuring that we fix this country has very many problems. I'll not get into them, but I'll focus on the institutional problems. If you focus on the institutional problems, it needs very clear strategy for us to actually get the whole system out, a complete overhaul, and then now we can focus on refurbishing whatever we want to refurbish. So political formations and the leaders that are there, expressing political interest, vying for presidency, vying for governor, they ought to also organize themselves very well, especially for the presidency, because that is a very key factor. They ought to organize themselves early enough, and we know this is our candidate. So if you're told we are falling back on a certain candidate, we know this is the candidate that is for the united opposition. So that now when you're moving forward, we are saying that we are not saying we have 5 presidential candidates in our opposition, and we are moving aimlessly using these 5 candidates. We're just, gambling, and then we're just playing cards here and just playing dice. We have to have a united opposition for us to kick out Ruto out of office.
But then, at the end of the day, the game plan in every political, ahead of 2027, either any political party is to join hands with President William Ruto ahead of 2027 or break ranks with him. That is the nature of the game, which is okay. The same way we are seeing different voices speaking again most prominently in the ODM side. We have got Sifuna here, we have got Babu Owino on the other side, we have got the likes of Hamisi there, speaking from different party positions. But Raila has not come out openly to say that this is a party position or those politicians, their positions. We leave it to them. When you look at the whole of this, does it really create confusion to the masses, or that is the name of the game?
That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
That Honorable Raila Odinga is trying to manage expectations both ways. And for you to be able to figure out where his ODM is likely to go at the end of the day, to me, it's one of the easiest things to do. Number one, you need to study Raila Odinga's moves. Every time he moves with the interests of his voting base in mind, with his personal interest in mind. And when I look at Raila Odinga now, he always has had one bullet. And this time, I see him with no bullet. And therefore, he has to make a decision which political direction he moves. And he has already shown signs where his heart is in government. And therefore, ahead of 2027, for us to be able to discern, because he's also thinking we are thinking. We cannot say, I cannot say like my younger sister said, Wajiko here, that Raila Odinga is soon going to bolt out of government. Because that makes no political, it pays him no political dividend by bolting out of government. Looking at his age, he's an old man. He has no energy like Wajiko has to really spend time with his friends at DCI, to spend time with his friends at Langata prison. And so for Raila now, the easy way to continue influencing the country and agitating for the positive change he wants is instituting change from within.
Yes.
Instituting change from within. And therefore, when I look at his future, I see him working with the current administration all through. Because right now, if Raila wants Wajiko to be named an ambassador for a certain country, he's a phone call away and negotiate for Wanjiku, and Wanjiku is appointed. And so he's wielding power from the background by the virtue of the fact that he said, yes, there are certain changes that are not working right in my perspective within the government. Yes, there are things you are doing right. Yes, the administration needs stability to be able to serve my people.
Yes.
And therefore, I'll come close, we work together, push for the changes that I so much want. From within, we achieve that change. Whereas others have decided for us to agitate for the change we want, we have to be fighting on the street. The other thing I wanted to coin into this answer, Mr. Victor, is about the youth involvement in the whole matrix.
Yes.
The youth involvement in the whole matrix. And my brother has said it very well, that we need to be able to be allowed to make decisions, our decisions to be heard.
Thank you.
And this is the way to go. And this is what I want to say also. Part of making decisions does not include throwing stones and burning people's businesses. Part of decision making is sitting in boardrooms, negotiating for what we think will bring a boost to our economy, what we think will add value to our future as a youth, and this is the way to go. Therefore, when we fight so hard, when we insult so hard, when we say this must go and this must come, that does not bring the change we want as a nation.
Save my job, save my job, save my job. 20 seconds, your closing remark. We are out of time actually. The director is gracious enough. 5 minutes past.
I'll take 10 seconds. I'll say this, that you can't expect a broken bakery to produce fresh bread. It will always produce rotten bread.
I can do that. I can do that. We can do that. Amajik,
what I want to say is this: we as young people, we are done with peace without justice. You can't ask young people to become, and not ask the systems to be fair to young people. Young people deserve justice, and young people who are murdered in 2024 continue being murdered, being abducted. I am a product of being abducted in this country. I want to say this again. Young people right now will shift the narrative of politics in Kenya. And that's what most people, especially the state, is afraid of. And above all, by-elections are coming, DCP is fielding candidates and will be to Kokwa ballot. I'm asking any young person who's running for office, welcome to DCP. If you want to take part in the by-elections, young people are our priority.
Thank you. That's a good way to stop it. Thank you so much. I think, okay, Sawa. On the front page of the Daily Nation, I didn't give you that. State House, spy software dealers passport revoked. That's on the front page of the Daily Nation. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Wanjiku Thiga, DCP, National Youth Leader, as well as Mushanga Giragu, who is a lawyer and a political analyst. Thank you so much for coming. And Peter Njeru, political analyst. Gentlemen and lady, asante sana. We're taking a break, but we come back. We are crossing over to Radio Taifa. I'm good.
Hello dear Kenyans, my name is Hussein Mohamed, FKF President. I take this opportunity to welcome you to enjoy the CHAN competitions as East Africa hosts this prestigious tournament. Come out in large numbers and support our Harambee Stars. Catch all the games on KBC Channel 1.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
Popote ulipo, CHAN iko KBC, CHAN iko home, na mimi ni Mkenya. Harambee Stars ndio timu yangu. Mahali popote ulipo mpenzi mtazamaji, ni tarehe 5 Agosti mwaka wa 2025, nikiwa na wengi wa matumaini kwamba buheri wa siha sawia nami ndani ya studio. Karibu kwa mara nyingine tena, ni muda mrefu mimi na wewe kuonana kwenye kipindi hiki, lakini kwa sasa karibu tena mpenzi mtazamaji, kipindi ambacho ni kwa ushirikiano runinga unayoipenda ya KBC Channel 1 na KBC Radio Taifa. Mtazamaji, huwa tunaangazia masuala ya siasa, lakini katika Jumanne 2 zilizopita tumeangazia masuala ya CHAN. Lakini leo mpenzi mtazamaji, tunaangalia jambo muhimu sana katika maisha ya mwanadamu, na tunaangalia kuhusiana na lishe bora. Lishe bora yenyewe inatokana na maziwa ya mama kwa mtoto. Hii ni wiki ya unyonyeshaji watoto. Ni wiki mpenzi mtazamaji ambayo ilianza Agosti mosi na itafika kileleni Agosti 7.
Sasa mpenzi mtazamaji, kumbuka tu kukujuza ni kwamba kina mama wanapata fursa ya kuweza kuwanyonyesha watoto wao nzuri wakati wanapofanya shughuli hiyo bila vikwazo vyovyote. Wiki hii mpenzi mtazamaji inahimiza wana afya na watunga sheria mpenzi mtazamaji kusisitiza juu ya umuhimu wa kuwanyonyesha watoto. Baadhi ya umuhimu ni kwamba watoto kuwa na afya ili wawe na kinga bora mwilini. Mpenzi mtazamaji, kwa mama unayenitazama, umuhimu ni kwamba unakinga saratani ya matiti na ovari. Wananikumbusha sayansi, mambo ya ovules na ovary. Na vile vile pia kampeni mtazamaji ya mwaka huu kwa Kiingereza. Kweli, mimi najua Kiingereza. Wacha nijaribu. Wanasema ni ku prioritize breastfeeding, create sustainable support systems. Hiyo ndio kauli mbiu ya mwaka huu mpenzi mtazamaji. Kumbuka, Sabina Chege, mbunge mteule, siku 4 zilizopita alihakikisha mswada huu umeangaziwa katika bunge la kitaifa kwa vile una umuhimu mkubwa, na aliangazia juu ya kina mama wanaofanya vibarua kupewa nafasi mwafaka ya kuweza kunyonyesha watoto wao katika mandhari inayofaa. Mpenzi mtazamaji, kuangazia jambo hili ndani ya studio tumemwalika Betty Okere, mtaalamu wa lishe ambaye hivi punde tutakuwa tunaungana naye, na vile vile pia ndani ya studio niko naye Mheshimiwa Peter Mutuku Mutua, mkuu wa utoaji huduma kwenye kaunti ya Nairobi, na kwenye mtandao tutakuwa tunaungana naye Bi Zuleha Hassan aliyekuwa mbunge wa kaunti ya Kwale ama former women representative, ambaye kuna wakati vile vile pia alizua sokomoko bungeni kuhusiana na swali hili. Bila kupoteza nukta, sekunde wala dakika, karibu sana Mheshimiwa Mutua ndani ya studio zetu.
Asante sana.
Labda kabla tujaendelea mbele, kwa sekunde 30 utazungumzia vipi fursa ya taifa la Kenya kuandaa michuano ya CHAN?
Ni fursa nzuri sana kwa sababu tuliona siku ya Jumapili pale wananchi wote wa Kenya walijiunga pamoja wakakuwa kitu kimoja, na nikasema siku ile kwamba mambo niliyashuhudia tungeendelea vivyo hivyo, manake huu mchuano umefanya sisi tukakuwa karibu pamoja, tofauti zote zetu tukazitupa pale, ukabila ukaisha, siasa nyingi kaisha. Kwa hivyo ningeomba tuwe na shughuli kama zile, sio lazima iwe CHAN, lakini shughuli kama zile ambazo zinatuleta wananchi wa Kenya kuwa pamoja na kuwa kitu kimoja, na kuonyesha wazi uzalendo ambao unajulikana ni alama nzuri ya Wakenya.
Kuna kina mama ambao wana watoto wadogo wanawanyonyesha, na vile vile pia wangependa na watoto wao kwenda kuangalia mpira na kutoa fursa adhimu kama hii. Sijui unashauri nini? Aache mtoto ama aende naye Kasarani akiangalia boli huko na mnyonyesha mtoto wake?
Kwanza mambo haya ni mazito sana kwanza. Mwanake mimi nawe tu wanaume wawili hapa na tunazungumza mambo ya kunyonyesha. Na hii mambo ya kunyonyesha ni kumaanisha ni muhimu kwa nchi ya Kenya na hapa Nairobi sana. Kwa hivyo ni kumaanisha mambo ni ya familia. Ndiposa wewe mwanaume kama wewe ukanialika hapa na mimi nikaja tukazungumzia mambo ya kunyonyesha. Na mambo ya kunyonyesha, kwa mfano vile swali unayoniuliza, mtu mama ambaye na mtoto mdogo aandamane na mtoto mpaka pale Kasarani. Nimeangalia sana hii mambo ya kunyonyesha na elimu yake ya kunyonyesha, mambo ya umuhimu wake imekuwa katika ulimwengu. Hizo sarakati na vugu ya kuhamasisha wa mama na jamii umuhimu wa kunyonyesha miaka 34. Kwa hivyo kama ni miaka 34, hatujafikia kiwango ya kwamba kila mahali tuna sehemu ya kunyonyesha. Maana pale Kasarani kwa sasa hivi hatuna sehemu ya kunyonyesha. Na kama hatuna sehemu ya kunyonyesha, basi mama akaenda pale na mtoto atakuwa ananyonyesha hadharani sana. Na sisi hapa Nairobi tunasema tunataka dignity, heshima. Kwa hivyo sisi kama nikizungumza kama mfanyikazi wa Nairobi, hiyo sio tukutakuwa na ile dignity ya mzazi na mtoto pale, manake mandhari haitakuwa nzuri sana. Yes. Lakini akitaka kuwatch boli lazima KBC iko live, Channel 1 iko live. Kwa hivyo sasa anaweza kwa starehe zake pale akimnyonyesha mtoto, ana watch ball yake kwa starehe, pia mtoto akiwa na starehe zake.
Bwana Mutua amezungumza swala muhimu sana, mpenzi mtazamaji. Kwa wewe mwanamke ambaye labda unataka kwenda kuangalia mpira na una mtoto yu anaonyesha, mpenzi mtazamaji, usipate tabu. Jawabu tumepewa hapa. Chan iko KBC. Tulia pale kwako nyumbani, mnyonyeshe mtoto wako, alafu angalia Harambee Stars ikifanya mambo. Nikirudi kwako Mheshimiwa Mutua, je, serikali ya kaunti ya Nairobi imeweka mikakati gani ili kuwezesha kina mama kuweza kupata nafasi za kuweza kuwanyonyesha watoto wao, kama vile ulivyosema kwamba Nairobi mnathamini heshima?
Sasa hapa hivi ukiangalia pale City Hall ambayo ni headquarter ya Nairobi County yenyewe, ofisi kuu, kuna sehemu moja tumeitenga, kwa kimombo tunaita lactation center, karibu na customer care. Mambo pale, mama akija na mtoto wake akitaka kumnyonyesha, kuna chumba cha kunyonyesha kipo, na hizi ambayo ni wazo kipo pale. Ukiingilia pale City, ukifika pale mama amebeba mtoto anataka kumnyonyesha, chumba kipo kisafi, hewa safi na heshima inadumu.
Kwa hiyo katika kaunti ya Nairobi, mbali na pale headquarter, kuna maeneo mengine, ofisi nyingine. Kwa hiyo wamama wakija kule kutafuta huduma mbalimbali, labda amekuja na mtoto wake, unawahakikishia kwamba watapata fursa ya kuweza kuonyesha watoto wao?
Tuweza hata fanya waziwazi, tuenda pale utaiona ipo. Lakini licha hayo tunao mengi. Tumezungumza kama public health, washazungumza tayari, tumeweka mikakati pamoja na governor, shazungumziwa. Tukasema watu public service, public, mambo ya ujenzi wa barabara na mambo ya public transport, everywhere, kila mahali ambapo utakuwa na stage, mahali ukichukua gari tumetenga sehemu 10 ambapo sehemu 10 ziko under construction, kwamba pale mama anaweza keti pale akisubiri kusafiri, anakuwa na sehemu mufti, anyonyeshe mtoto, kisha arudi pale achukue gari lake aende nyumbani. Tuko hiyo iko wazi.
Asante mtazamaji. Vile vile pia tunajiunga naye mtaalamu wa lishe Bibete Okere. Karibu sana Bibete ndani ya studio. Uko salama kabisa? Salama. Tunasema Chan iko KBC. Ati Chan iko wapi?
Chan iko KBC.
Asante sana. Karibu sana. Ulikuwa tumeanza tu muda mchache uliopita, pengine wewe kama mtaalamu wa masuala ya lishe, je, umuhimu wa wiki hii ni upi, kwa vile kuna wengi ambao hawazingatii masharti ya kuweza kunyonyesha watoto, kwa sababu tuko katika wiki ambayo ni ya kuadhimisha kunyonyesha watoto. Umuhimu wake ni upi?
Asante sana. Tunaangalia kwa njia ya nje na kufikiria kwamba umuhimu wa kunyonyesha mtoto au ile kuifanya katika hali nzuri, the right way of doing it, inamwangukia mama, lakini hiyo sio sahihi, kwa sababu inamwangukia kila mtu. Alivyosema, wametenga sehemu ambazo mama anaweza akatembelea na kunyonyesha. Ningependa sana kuziona, kwa sababu muda mwingine tunatenga vyumba ambavyo viko na kiti ambayo hata mama akikalia, akimaliza kunyonyesha atakuwa amesikia uchungu sana. So hii wiki inaleta hamasisho, ama tunafanya ile advocacy. Sio kwamba ni peke yake ndio hii wiki ya kufanya hayo mambo, lakini kuwakumbusha tu watu duniani kwamba kunyonyesha mtoto ni jambo la muhimu, na especially ile tunasema exclusive breastfeeding for first 6 months ya mtoto amezaliwa. So kujaribu tu kukumbusha watu, kama ni kupeana vifaa au bidhaa ambazo mama atahitaji kurahisisha ile kazi, tunapatiana. Kama tutapayana ile support, nani mwingine anahitajika kumsaidia mama kuweza kunyonyesha mtoto inavyofaa, tena tunahamasisha watu kuhusu hiyo. Madhara gani yanatokana na kutonyonyesha mtoto jinsi ambavyo umeelezewa, pia tunaangalia. Nani changamoto gani ambazo kina mama wanapata katika kutaka kunyonyesha watoto wao kwa njia sahihi. So ni week of advocacy, kama saizi tunasema creating sustainability, yeah? So tunafanya ile empowerment kwa kina mama, pia yeye ajue nikinyonyesha ina faida gani kwa mtoto wangu, nikinyonyesha ina faida gani kwangu. Tuna kizazi ambacho hakitoka hospitalini wanatoka na video za TikTok, wanatoka na kila kitu isipokuwa kuweza kumnyonyesha mtoto, kwa sababu ya ile dhana kwamba nikinyonyesha mtoto mwili wangu utabadilika kwa njia fulani, sitaweza ambayo si kweli. Mwili ina internal mechanisms za kujirekebisha, na kama umeamua kukuwa mzazi kuna vitu ambazo zinafuatana na zinaambatana na huo uzazi. So tukifuatilia, kila mtu atakuwa sawa, mtoto sawa, mama sawa. Yes.
Bila shaka mtazamaji, ni Bi Betty Okere ambaye ni mtaalamu wa lishe, pia yuko ndani ya studio. Na kama endapo ndo kwa sasa unajiunga nasi, hii ni KBC Channel 1, hii ni KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya, stesheni zako za Chan 2024. Na kama tulivyokuambia, vile vile pia kwa tunazungumza naye aliyekuwa Women Rep County ya Kwale, Mheshimiwa Zulea Hassan kwenye mtandao, na ndani ya studio niko na wageni wawili tukizungumzia, mpenzi mtazamaji, wiki ya hamasisho hususan katika kuwanyonyesha watoto. Ni kirudi kwako Mheshimiwa Mutua, kama Kenya, je, tuko wapi katika wanawake kuwanyonyesha watoto? Ametoa mfano wanawake wa kizazi cha sasa, Gen Z, akishazaa anaona anataka kubakia vile vile alivyo. Je, kitakwimu za Kenya tuko wapi katika kunyonyesha watoto?
Kwanza ni rejelee mali Betty alisema sustainable support systems, ambayo ndio theme ya mwaka huu. Sisi kama hapa Nairobi, alisema kwanza angependa kuona hizo vyumba ambavyo mama anatumia kunyonyesha watoto. Karibu sana Betty. Kama wanaishi Nairobi ama wewe ni Mkenya, Nairobi unajua tuna mantra ya kusema dignity, hope, order and opportunity. One of the opportunities tumepea ni wamama kuwa na sehemu ya kunyonyesha watoto, na tulipofanya hivyo tulizingatia kwamba mama anaweza kuumia akinyonyesha. Hata stage zetu haiwezi kalia kiti ambacho ukikalia dakika 5 utaweza kuumia. Sehemu za kukalia, makalio, sitaki kuita kwa jina lingine ambayo ina adabu. Na ndio nirudi kwako nikueleze tuko wapi. Nairobi si tushaweka kiwango cha muhimu sana. Kuna wafanyikazi wa Nairobi County ambapo sehemu zingine za Kenya hawajapewa jukumu na training kama tumewapatia. CHPs, Community Health Promoters. Community Health Promoters wote ambao wanafaa kusimamia familia kama 100 na washasomeshwa, wamefunzwa jinsi ya kuhamasisha mambo ya breastfeeding. Kwa hivyo hiyo ni kumaanisha mtoto mama akizaa pale Pumwani, Mama Lucy na sehemu zingine za Nairobi, tuna watu standby ambao wanawafunza na kuambia umuhimu wa kunyonyesha. Mambo umesema kwamba Gen Zs Kwa kawaida sana sipendi kusema mambo ya Gen Z kwa sababu tabia mbaya ni tabia mbaya. Wengine hata labda wakati niliozaliwa mimi ni generation X. Labda kuna wasichana wakati ule mamangu akiwa msichana pia hawakutaka kunyonyesha kwa sababu moja ama nyingine. Kwa hivyo ni tabia tu ya wengine na sio wote. Kuna wengine pia wanaelewa, manake ukishapata elimu kama hii vile Betty yako hapa akihamasisha wamama, wakihamasisha hata mama ambaye amepata mtoto akiwa na umri wa miaka 18, akiwa na hiyo elimu na elewe ni kwa nini. Mambo ni kuelewa mbona unafanya hivi. Wewe mwenyewe tukianza mazungumzo ulisema faida, na akasema hapa ameingia mwenyewe amesema faida ya kunyonyesha. Na kweli faida ya kunyonyesha, kama ushaelewa kitu ina faida, mbona usiifanye? Ni faida kwako, ni faida kwa mtoto. Kwa hivyo hapa sana Nairobi tuko mbele sana. Unajua Nairobi tunasema Nairobi kwa sababu tuko wengi, na Nairobi ndio Kenya, maana kila mtu wako hapa na kutoka sehemu zote za Kenya yuko hapa, hata ulimwengu mzima. Kwa hivyo vile Nairobi tukipata upele inapatikana kila mahali, lakini tumepata upele ya kuelewa kwamba kunyonyesha ina faida zake. Na hata ukitoka pale Pumwani siku moja utoke studio hapa, ndio wewe mwenyewe na Betty mwenyewe hapa ende angalia. Kwa Betty nakualika tukitoka hapa twende pale City Hall nikuonyeshe chumba cha kunyonyesha.
Nitakuja.
Nikuelekeze hata
nitapiga picha.
Nataka wewe mwenyewe uende pale pale pasipo kuelekezwa, usione nimekuelekeza, ile nimetayarisha, uende tu kwa siku yako peke yako, jitokezee uone mambo tumetengeneza. Nawe siku moja utoke hapo uende Pumwani uone CHPs vile tumefanya. Kwa hivyo mambo ya kunyonyesha Nairobi tuko mahali pazuri sana. Percentage yake iko sawa kabisa.
Bila shaka.
Wewe ni Gen Z, wewe ni mama mzee unakuja kumalizia, unajua ile kumalizia miaka 45 na kwenda hivi, wanafunzi wote.
Bila shaka.
Asante.
Naomba tuvalie hivi vidubasha tumsikize Mheshimiwa Zuleha ambaye tunaungana naye kwenye Zoom moja kwa moja. Na mpenzi mtazamaji, mahali popote ulipo, ni saa 2 dakika 25 saa za kanda ya Afrika ya Mashariki. Kama unaungana nasi, hii ni kumradhi, mezoea kudzacha. Hii ni Zinga mpenzi mtazamaji, na vile vile pia GMK ikikujia kupitia Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya, na vile vile pia KBC Channel 1. Hii ni wiki ya hamasisho juu ya mama zetu, wake zetu, dada zetu kuweza kuwanyonyesha watoto. Na moja kwa moja kwenye mtandao tunaungana naye aliyekuwa mbunge wa gatuzi la kaunti ya Kwale, Mheshimiwa Zuleha Hassan, ambaye kwa sasa ana mtoto ambaye ana umri wa miaka 6. Mwaka wa 2019 mulimuona kwenye runinga akianzisha mchakato wa kuweza kuhakikisha hamasa inatolewa. Mheshimiwa Zuleha, karibu sana. Hebu tupatie safari yako, ilikuwaje kwaje mpaka ukaanzisha sokomoko hili?
Okay, shukran sana. Ilikuwa niko huyu alikuwa mtoto wa pili wakati niko woman rep kujifungua 2019. So na bunge kuko nishajifungua watoto watatu na huyu kwa tatu. Kwa hivyo hiyo siku kabla ya kwenda bunge nikawa niko na wale wasaidizi wangu nyumbani, wakawa na shughuli, ikabidi nikae na mtoto nyumbani kwa at least sali moja. Ndio nikajiuliza kwa nini iwe hivyo. Je, kama ingekuwa kuna kura muhimu bunge ingekuwaje? Si ningekosa kura na pengine huo mswada ungeanguka, pengine kinyume cha vile ambavyo watu wale wangefaidi. Ndio nikafikiria kuwa siku ya pili basi, kwa sababu hawakarumu na tumeandikia barua, kuna wabunge wengine walikuwa wameandika barua toka mwaka 2013. So nikaamua kuwa nitaenda na mtoto bungeni siku ya pili yake. Ndo nikampigia dadangu simu mwanzo kumuuliza aone kama ni kitu cha kawaida. Akacheka akasema ni sawa. Ikabidi pia nimwombe babake puta, na nikaomba na yeye akakubali. Ndo sasa nikapanga vile nitafanya. Ndo nikapanga iwe asubuhi, ndo hakuna ile hakutakuwa na ile kizuizi sana kama mchana. Ndo nikaomba Mungu anifaulishe, kwa sababu kufaulu kwangu koko ni kuingia ndani ya bunge. Kwa hivyo nikaweza kuingia pale, nikafaulu, nikapita zile security, wananijua na mtoto. Hawakudhani kuwa nitaenda kule ndani, waliona pengine niko tu area, lakini alafu ndo nikaweza kuingia naye huko. Na
ulipoingia kule ndani hali ilikuwa vipi? Je, pengine kuna mbunge yote alisimama akasema Mheshimiwa Zuleha amekiuka masharti ya bunge, na hali ilikuwa vipi?
No, mwanzo nilipoingia kuna wabunge wengine tuona tukiingia wakashtuka. Kwa hakuna wabunge wengi ni asubuhi, kwa sababu tumeingia tu baada ya ile maombi. Kwa sababu huko lazima baada ya maombi ndo nisitolee, ndo takuwa pia bunge rasmi. Ningeingia kabla, wangenitoa kabla bunge rasmi. So wakashangaa, kuna wachache walioniona kwa sababu kwa tuko wengi, wakawa wanashangaa, macho yao wataka kuuliza, hawawezi. Sasa hiyo siku Waziri Duale ndo alikuwa majority leader, na kwa anazungumzia mambo ya vita nafikiri na Somalia baharini, kuna mipaka, kitu kama hicho, shida za mipaka. So nikaingia, watu kwa wanasikiza. Ndo Mheshimiwa Kaluma akaniona na yeye akaelewa, ni kama akaelewa kuendelea nini na najaribu kufanya nini. Kwa sababu kama mimi kama mbunge siwezi kuja kazini na mtoto. Je, mwananchi ambao hayuko bunge, na sisi ni wenye kutunga sheria za hii nchi. Ndo nikaja vile ili kusudi ku make your point. So Mheshimiwa Kaluma ndo familia, lakini kitu cha kusitisha nafikiri si jambo ambalo wale askari bungeni, si jambo ambalo speaker ama yeyote yule sikuwa ungeni muliona
Na mpenzi mtazamaji, tutarudi kwake Mheshimiwa Zuleha kwenye njia haya ya mtandao. Kumradhi kwa hilo, lakini ameelezea jinsi gani ambavyo alifaulu kuingia pale na ni nini alichokuwa anataka kusema, lakini baadaye tutaungana naye tumuulize kuhusu mswada. Lakini tu endapo ndo kwa sasa unafungua redio yako KBC Radio Taifa, sauti ya Mkenya, na vile vile pia runinga yako ya KBC Channel 1, tuko na wageni ndani ya studio na tunazungumzia kuhusiana na wiki hii ya hamasisho za kina mama zetu, dada zetu na wake zetu kunyonyesha watoto. Na kama nilivyokuambia, ndani ya studio nina wageni. Nirudi kwako Betty Okeri ambaye ni mtaalamu wa lishe. Je, mtoto anafaa kuanza kunyonya lini, na je anafaa kunyonyeshwa vipi? Kwa sababu kuna wanawake ambao labda wanatarajia kujifungua na ni amateur, ni wageni katika swala hili, hajui ataanza vipi. Tupeleke polepole.
Asante sana kwa swali hilo. Jambo la kwanza, tusisubiri hadi mama akajifungua ndio tukaanza kufanya hamasisho au tukaanza kufanya ile kumwelezea mama kwamba sasa hivi ndio utaweza kumnyonyesha mtoto wako. Kama itafanyika muda huo kwa sababu hakuwa na muda kabla, ni sawa, lakini tufanye ile inaitwa proper planning. Kama mama amepata ujauzito ana miezi 9 kabla kujifungua, tuanze mapema kuweza kumfundisha na mambo kama hayo. Mtoto anapaswa kunyonya wakati gani? Pindi tu anapozaliwa, mradi mama ana nguvu ya kuweza kumnyonyesha. Na hata sio nguvu, kwa sababu si kuweza tu kumwekelea mtoto pale kwenye titi kwa njia inayostahili, ili yule muuguzi anayemsaidia mama naye aweze kuona kama huyu mama anafahamu jinsi ya kumwekelea mtoto kwenye titi kwa njia inayofaa. Wengi kwa sababu kuna dhana kwamba hivi tu ushakuwa mwanamke lazima wewe unajua kunyonyesha. We take it as if it should be automatic. Si automatic, lazima kuwe na mafunzo, kwa sababu kuna ile, kama kwenye titi kuna sehemu mbili, kuna hiyo nipple ambayo imetokea titi, kuna sehemu mbili, kuna hiyo nipple ambayo imetokea, alafu kuna ile sehemu ambayo ina rangi nyeusi kushinda rangi yote ya titi, inaitwa the areola. Kama mtoto atashikilia nipple peke yake avute, kuna ile pressure, mama atapata cracked nipples, atasikia uchungu, hataweza kuendelea kunyonyesha kwa sababu itakuwa very difficult. Lakini kama mtoto ataweza kushikilia ile areola akanyonya, kama titi lote limeshikiliwa, hiyo sehemu nyeusi, mdomo wa mtoto umeushikilia, itakuwa rahisi. Hata maziwa yenyewe itatoka kwa urahisi, na mtoto mwenyewe hatakuwa nasikia kama ni kazi ngumu. Kwa sababu kumbuka, kuna wale wanasema nyonyesha mtoto hapati maziwa ya kutosha. Wakati mwingine sio hapati maziwa ya kutosha, ulivomwekelea katika ile kujaribu kuvuta, anatumia nguvu nyingi sana na maziwa haitoki kwa kiwango ile inampatia kushiba. Okay? Lakini akiwa inaitwa attachment, attach vizuri kwenye the breast, then ataweza kunyonya kwa njia inayostahili. Alivyokuwa anasema tuna vyumba, na furahia kwamba mmeweka vyumba vya kuweza kunyonyesha, lakini kuna zaidi ya hiyo, kuna support. Kiti ilikuwa tu moja ya example, lakini what is the work environment like? Ile sehemu ambayo mama anafanya kazi. Huwezi kuwa kwenye ofisi ambayo iko na stress levels ziko juu uka expect mama ataweza kunyonyesha vizuri. Ama nimekuja na mtoto kazini, alivyosema mheshimiwa, nimekuja na mtoto kazini. Sasa kila mtu ananiangalia, I'm the center of attraction. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu sina sehemu imetengwa, hata naweza kuja na msaidizi wa muda. Kuna wale tunaita day help. Ninaweza kuja na msaidizi wa muda, akakaa na mtoto pale, nikakuwa niko comfortable. Ama stress situation kwenye kazi iko juu sana mpaka maziwa haiwezi katoka. Kumbuka, maziwa haiwekwi kwenye titi, is not stored. Lazima kuwe na environment ya kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba the brain communication inaweza kuwa inakumbusha.
Asante. Shikilia hapo. Kabla kwenda kwake Mheshimiwa Zuleha, wacha nirudi kidogo hapo kwa Mheshimiwa Mutu, alafu tuende kwake Mheshimiwa Zuleha. Je, sisi kina baba, msaada wetu mkubwa ni upi pale nyumbani kuwasaidia wake zetu kuwanyonyesha watoto wetu vizuri?
Tuna mpango kwanza Nairobi County kwa baba. Ni lazima kama mama shajifungua akipewa miezi 4. Miezi 4 na tunamruhusu pamoja na hizo maternity leave aongezee mwezi mwingine moja ile annual leave. Kwa hivyo kitambo arudi job itakuwa ni kama miezi 6. Naye baba siku 10 ama wiki 2 anapewa, lazima siku 10 zile working days. Kwa hivyo itakuwa ni kama wiki 2 ukihesabu, hata Jumamosi na Jumapili akiwa pale aelewe umuhimu wa mama kunyonyesha na mpe hiyo moral support. Hiyo ndio tumeweka mikakati katika Nairobi County. Hata hivyo kuna kitu Betty alisema, environment kama iko na stress. Nairobi County leo kama kazi inayofanya tukiweka kwa mitandao kuna nafasi tutapata applicants more than 1,000 for one position. Hawawezi kuapply one position 1,000 people kama kuna stress levels. Hata mimi mwenyewe vijana kama wengine wenu hapo mnafikiri mimi ni wa umri wenu, miaka ninayo, lakini kwa sababu sina stress ndio naona mimi nakaa kama kijana barabara. Kwa hiyo mambo ya stress au yes pata na ile
hata mahali unatoka watu hata umri mkubwa wanakaa wadogo huko.
Hiyo watu ni kusema, lakini mimi sitoki kule. Sasa Nairobi nimekuwa huko karibu miaka 40. Kwa hivyo kana Nairobi na ingekuwa na stress sana mahali mimi nafanya kazi, ungeiona hata kwa uso wangu. Hata mimi mwenyewe nifika hapa, mimi nina umri kidogo kuliko Betty. Nilifika mbele yake labda alijikokota kuamka, mimi sikujikota. Sasa kwa hivyo sasa pale kama hiyo that lactation center pale Nairobi County iko smart, na hiyo mambo tuna nyingine tunatengeneza pande ya executive. Maana tuna young tuna young population Nairobi County, ambapo hatutaki kuwa young population then we are not putting systems in place for procreating, yani kuendeleza na kuumba. Unanielewa? Kwa hivyo sisi tumeweka mikakati safi kabisa. Na ninasisitiza, manake Betty anazungumzia Kenya mzima mahali tupo. Ningependa aetembee ndio tena mwalike tena awapatie majibu.
Yes. Asante, naomba tuvalie tena hivi nirudi kwake Mheshimiwa Zuleha Hassan, former Kwale Women Representative ambapo yuko kwenye mtandao. Bi Zuleha, pole tulikupoteza kidogo, lakini alhamdulillah umerudi kwenye line. Labda tu Bi Zuleha tuzungumzie kuhusiana na mswada ambao uliwasilishwa bungeni mwaka 2019 kuhusu kunyonyeshwa watoto. Ulikuwa na vipengele vipi? Kuhusu kunyonyeshwa watoto. Ulikuwa na vipengele vipi? Kunyonyeshwa watoto. Ulikuwa na vipengele
mswada ama bill ninataka ifanywe sheria ya Kenya, na ililetwa bungeni na Mheshimiwa Safina Chege, na zaidi ni kuruhusu kina mama yani maofisi yenye kiwango fulani cha wafanyikazi kuruhusu kina mama waje kazini na watoto wao. Wawe kuna pahali room imetengwa safi ambayo kina mama wanaweza kunyonyesha watoto wao hapo, ambapo ni kando na wafanyikazi wenzao. Na pia kuena muda yani ambao wataruhusiwa kuchukua breaks kwenda kunyonyesha mtoto wao. Kuena vifaa pia za kama friji na kadhalika, za kuweza kuweka maziwa. Saa ingine kina mama wengine pengine wanaweza amua mtoto akae nyumbani, kwa hivyo kuna mida itabidi pengine akamue maziwa yake, kwa hivyo kuena na hizo nafasi. So yani ni sheria ya kusupport kina mama katika hili na hiyo nafurahi muhula uliopita wa bunge hiyo sheria haikuweza kukamilika, lakini hii wiki kuanzia wiki iliyopita na kuanzia kesho na kuendelea kesho wabunge wanachangia mswada huu. Na nimefurahi juzi kulikuwa na speaker Mheshimiwa Kaluma, ndo alikuwa speaker wakati wabunge wanachangia, na kaunga mkono kwa sababu yeye ndo alikuwa kwa wa kwanza ku raise point of order nilivyoingia, na nafurahi sahi ni katika panel ya maspika, na hapo juzi aliunga mkono, na nafurahi pia zaidi kwa huu mswada unazungumzwa wiki hii ya Breastfeeding Week.
Labda kule unakotoka serikali ya kaunti ya Kwale, kuna vituo vyovyote ambavyo vimetengwa katika eneo lile kuwaruhusu kina mama kuweza kuwanyonyesha watoto wao? Kina mama kuweza kuwanyonyesha watoto wao? Kina mama kuweza kuwanyonyesha watoto wao? Mheshimiwa Zuleha, unanipata?
zikafungwa, na mpaka sahii hawajafungua tena. Nafikiri wanataka pengine mtusaidie kuwe na msukumo tena kuweze kufunguliwa sehemu kama hiyo. Lakini nafikiri na hii sheria, kama sijakosea, lakini kwa sababu mimi sikurudi bunge muhula huu, lakini mwisho nilipoulizia huko haijafunguliwa, sijui sasa, lakini na mswada huu kuwa unazungumzwa, na hakika yani kutakuwa na msukumo zaidi kuwe na sehemu kama hiyo, kwa sababu si wabunge pia wanawake. Kumbuka pia kuna wafanyikazi wengi sana pale bunge, kuna wanawake ambao ndo wako kwenye umri wa kupata watoto, nao wanapata mitihani. Ile miezi ya maternity leave haitoshi. Nafikiri hapo tuko na expert wa masala haya ya lishe bora, na atasema kuwa ni muhimu mtoto anyonye kwa miaka 2 ndo umpatie awe na maisha mazuri.
Asante Bi Zuleha, usiende mbali, shikilia hapo nitarudi kwako mpenzi mtazamaji. Huyu ni Mheshimiwa Zuleha Hassan. Huyu ni Mheshimiwa Zuleha Hassan ambaye alikuwa women rep wa Kwale, na kama alivyosema uchaguzi uliopita alijaribu bahati katika eneo bunge la Kinango lakini hakuweza kufaulu. Lakini bado Mheshimiwa Zuleha, usikate tamaa, bado mambo mazuri yapo mbeleni. Nirudi kwako Bi Betty, afisa ama mtaalamu wa lishe bora. Je, ni vyakula gani bora mama ananyonyesha anafaa kutumia ili asikaukiwe ama akose maziwa? Kuna watu wanakula ngumu tu na ana mtoto.
Maybe ni kwa sababu ya hali ya maisha lakini kwa mazungumzo mengine baadaye. Mradi mama anaweza kupata ile tunasema balanced diet, itakuwa ya muhimu zaidi. Wengi wanadhani kwamba ile balanced diet ni kitu ambacho kiko mbali sana, ama iko very expensive. Lakini what is a balanced diet? Balanced diet ni ile madini inahitajika na mwili uipate kwa kiasi inayostahili, kwa wakati unaostahili, na kwa kiwango kinachotakikana. Kuna wale wameweka dhana kwamba mama amejifungua lazima awe anatumia chakula cha watu wawili. Okay? Sasa mtu anamaliza kujifungua, unatumia chakula cha watu wawili, you're eating for 2, if I put it in English. Alafu akimaliza miezi ile 6, anaporudi kazini alivyosema, sasa tena amekuwa na shida nyingine, amekuwa na obesity, ambayo inakuwa ngumu sasa. Lakini what is a balanced diet? Balanced diet iko na sijui kusema kwa Kiswahili, carbohydrates, proteins na
chakula kilicho na virutubisho vyote vinavyostahiki.
Exactly. Sasa tuseme mfano mama wa kawaida pale nyumbani, umekuwa ukikula nini kabla hata ya kujifungua? Labda umekuwa na ugali, umekuwa ukipata samaki, umekuwa ukipata mboga za majani, na pia sasa pale kando ukatafuta kama ni maziwa, kwa wale wanatumia maziwa ukatafuta matunda pia, na ukakunywa maji ya kutosha. Hiyo inatosha. Kwa yule ambaye amejifungua, ile calorie requirement kwa mwili haitakuwa zaidi ya 500 calories. Haitakuwa zaidi. Usually inakuwa kati ya 300 to 500 calories extra, ambayo utapata nikichukua matunda, badala ya moja nichukue matunda 2, badala ya kijiko kimoja cha tablespoon cha mboga nikachukua 5, na badala ya vipande 4 vya nyama nikachukua kama vipande 10. Hivyo tu imetosha. Haitakuwa eti sasa kama ni sahani ya pilau sasa wewe ukule sahani 2 kwa sababu umejifungua. Kwa sababu tena kuna ile mama amejifungua, kila mtu anakimbia anampa uji, anamwambia kunywa maziwa ya chokoleti, I don't know, kwa sababu italeta maziwa. First, the woman has to be relaxed. Lazima awe ako na hali ya utulivu, awe hakuna uchungu yoyote anasikia kwenye mwili. Alafu milk letdown reflex ni demand and supply. Unavozidi kumnyonyesha mtoto ndivyo naye anazidi maziwa inazidi kukua. Kwa sababu kama una duka mahali, umeweka supply stock ya kitu fulani na haiendi, next time ukifanya stock take upate hii stock imeharibika, utaenda kununua kile kitu au utanunua. So mwili pia unafanya the same. Unavomnyonyesha mtoto ndio mwili unaendelea kutaka. Kama unaendelea kunyonyesha pia unapangia kurudi kazini, utafanya nini? Express the milk, the excess milk, so that uweze ukai store. Na ndio maana tunasema hata tukirejea kazini na mama, tunasema exclusive breastfeeding for first 6 months of life, but continued breastfeeding up to 24 months of the child's life, together with the complementary feeding.
Shikilia hapo. Amezungumza ile mashine ya kukamua maziwa, kanikumbusha kuna wakati nilitumwa nikasema vitu gani tena hivi. Nirudi kwa Mheshimiwa Peter Mutuku Mutua ambaye ni Head of Service Delivery Nairobi County, na umetueleza vizuri kuhusiana na mikakati. Umesema lazima iwaka.
Ishawak.
Turudi hapo. Sisi waume, kuna dhana ashakum sisi matusi, watu wanasema tunaponyonya matiti ya wake zetu tunawazuia wasipate ugonjwa wa kansa. Ina athari gani kwa mtoto ambaye ananyonyeshwa?
Nafikiri binadamu ambaye ana akili timamu na mume wa mke na mke yako akazaa mtoto, uwezi mnyonya kama kuna kunyonyana akiwa ananyonyesha mwanao. Kwa hivyo sasa kama unanyonya basi utanyonya wakati anyonyeshi. Na maana kwa sasa hapa tumekuja kuzungumza ya mtoto akinyonya mamake, breastfeeding. Breastfeeding sio watu wazee kama wewe ama mimi. Breastfeeding ni ya mtoto, kunyonyeshwa na mama.
Muhimu sana. Nafikiri waume wenzangu tumesikia, endelea.
Na breastfeeding yetu tunazungumza siku ya leo, si ya wewe ambaye mwanaume umekuwa mtoto. Kila wakati uko mtoto, umri 50 60 mtoto, unashindana na mtoto kunyonya. Hii tunasema ni ya watoto. Ndio tunazungumzia ya leo. Hii nyingine kama ipo, ni mambo mengine ambayo tuyaweze kuzungumza mbele ya watu. Maana yake ni mambo mtoto, unaona mtoto anaweza nyonyeshwa sehemu yote ile. Maana yake hata ukisema kuna chumba cha kunyonyesha pale Nairobi City County, it is not as private as your bedroom. Kwa hivyo sasa hii nyingine ni ya bedroom na tutayazungumza hapa.
Bila shaka mpenzi mtazamaji, nadhani ni dhana potofu ambayo iko. Vijana wa kileo tunaangalia sana masuala ya mitandao ya kijamii, tunadanganyana, lakini Bwana Mutua hapa ametueleza vizuri. Wacha mama anyonyeshe mtoto. Wewe mwanamume, tafuta supplements ambazo zitamsaidia mke wako apate nguvu, mtoto wenu awe na afya. Nadhani limeeleweka vizuri zaidi. Labda tu mwelekezi wangu Owen na mheshimiwa
beti yako hapa, na ni vizuri tuzungumze mikakati ile tumeweka kwa sababu ni muhimu sana kieleweke. Na nikisema imewaka. Unajua pale under unfortunate circumstances, mama anaweza kujifungua pale, for example Pumwani, na kutika kujifungua amekuwa ana nguvu. Sasa inabidi sometimes atolewe pale hospitali, apelekwe hospitali nyingine. And that circumstances tuna express maziwa inaitolewa kwa mama, ama mama wale na maziwa excess, tuna kitu inaitwa milk bank pale Pumwani. Na sasa ile maziwa inatumia sayansi ku make sure maziwa ya mkeo ama mke wangu inaweza lisha mtoto ambaye sio mke wangu amne wa mwingine. Maana yake kuna ile inaenda ile process inaitwa pasteurization, make sure hiyo maziwa iko safi na ni maziwa ya mama, na hizo milk bank na tuko nazo na fridge tumeweka vizuri. Tena pale ulisema lazima ni vizuri watu waelewe, usiende wewe usitumwe kama vile ulitumwa kununua kifaa kia kutoa maziwa kwa mama ndio aache maziwa kwa nyumba. Lazima kuwe na fridge. Hiyo fridge lazima iangaliwe kama iko katika hali nzuri, iwe ni safi na kuwe na lazima kuwe na power. Kama stima imepotea kuna backup, manake ikipotea itakuwa ile maziwa itakuwa tena si maziwa safi. Manake ile maziwa ya mama complete, ile maziwa ndio the only natural food that is complete, because yahitaji when it is coming straight from the mother, you don't need to warm it, you don't need to sieve it, you don't need to do anything. Mtoto ni kuwekelea tu mdomo, ananyonya vile mlielezewa namna ya kunyonyesha. Manake yeye ndio tu ana nguvu na kipawa na uzoevu wa kusema mtoto lazima mdomo ifike mahali fulani ndio mama asiumie. Hiyo ndio iko. Maziwa ya mama ndio peke yake ni chakula ambacho hufai kuchemsha, hufai kufanya chochote, lakini under only circumstances when you are feeding directly. Yes.
Bila shaka mpenzi mtazamaji unaitazama runinga ya KBC Channel 1, ikiwa hivi sasa ni saa 2:48 saa za kanda ya Afrika Mashariki. Unatizama na unasikiliza kama kawa, kama dawa, kama kalambwanda. Tunakwambia KBC ndiyo stesheni yako inayokuletea Chan. Na kwa leo wiki hii mpenzi mtazamaji, ili upate nguvu za kutizama Harambee Stars, mnyonyeshe mtoto wako vizuri. Kwenye line ya kwenye mtandao tunaye mheshimiwa Zulea Hassan aliyekuwa Women Rep County ya Kwale, na vile vile pia ni miongoni mwa wanawake ambao wamesukuma harakati za kuhakikisha kwamba hili linaafikiwa. Bi Zulea, kwa mara ya mwisho ni kuacha upumzike. Je, labda una maoni gani kuhusiana na baadhi ya kina mama, baadhi ya wanawake ambao hawapendi kuwanyonyesha watoto wao kupitia maziwa yao waliopewa na Mwenyezi Mungu, na badala yake wanatumia zile chupa?
Okay, so sawa, tu ni kuwapa advice kuwa wanafanya hivyo kwa sababu bado hawajajua faida ya maziwa ya mama. Kwa hivyo wajielimishe, na mojawapo ni kuwa katika siku 1000 za kwanza ndo ubongo wa binadamu unakuwa. Kwa hivyo akikosa maziwa ya mama katika hizo siku 1000 za kwanza, hataweza tena kukuza ubongo wake baada ya hapo. Kwa hivyo kutakuwa kuna vitu vimekosa, na madaktari na kuna nutritionist hapo atasema urathi ule mzuri kabisa ambao waweza kumpatia mtoto wako kuliko elimu, kuliko nini, ni kumnyonyesha kama unaweza kwa miaka 2. Hiyo ndo urathi, manake wataalamu wamesema atakuwa mwerevu, atakuwa na afya nzuri maisha yake yote. Na kama utaniruhusu Rashid, siku zote huyu bungeni aliitwa stranger, na sasa pia tunamuita mtoto. Niingie na mtoto, naomba aseme jina lake. Sema jina lako.
Naitwa Mwanabaraka Mustafa Bazuma.
Sijui kama mmemsikia, sema kwa nguvu.
Naitwa Mwanabaraka Mustafa Bazuma.
Aya, sawa. Nafikiri umehear from the horse's mouth, sasa hiyo waweza kujitetea kidogo.
Na labda tukimalizia Bizuleha, ndio ni kuachilie kabla mswada huu kuweza kuwa effective, kuweza kuanza kufanya kazi, una wito gani kwa serikali na taasisi kuhusiana na nafasi za kina mama, wanawake ambao wana watoto kazini, kuweza kuwanyonyesha watoto wao? Una wito gani mheshimiwa?
No, ziko policy nyingi katika sheria za Kenya za kuunga kitu kama hicho. Yangu zaidi katika serikali, yani mambo yako sawa, isipokuwa sasa tunahitaji bunge wapitishe hii bill ndio iweze kuchukuliwa more serious. Lakini kwa wanabiashara, kwa wale wenye makampuni ambao watalazimika kusaidia kina mama, wasione kama hasara. World Health Organization, shirika la afya la dunia nzima, limesema kuwa kwa kila shilingi moja biashara ama serikali inawekeza kwenye kusaidia kina mama wanyonyeshe watoto wao, hiyo biashara inapata dola 35 kwa kila dola moja wanaowekeza. Kwa hivyo ni kitu cha kuleta faida. Kwa nini wanasema mfanyakazi ana utulivu? Kwa sababu anajua mtoto wake yuko salama. Alafu na pia kwa serikali, afya, wananchi wote watakuwa na afya nzuri. Kwa hivyo serikali itakuwa haiwekezi sana katika sekta ya afya. Kama sasa hivi unaona serikali yetu inabidi ilipie watu maradhi tofauti kupitia SHA, lakini inabidi wasimamie pia, yani, na pia kuna masaa ya watu kuwa wagonjwa wakiwa watu wazima, na maradhi mengine yanaletwa na kuwa mtu pia hakupata lishe bora alipokuwa mtoto mchanga. Kwa hivyo pia zaidi tunataka support kwa watu wenye biashara, watu wenye makampuni, waajiri, wa support kina mama, kwa sababu tunajenga nchi yetu.
Asubuhi ya leo. Na mpenzi mtazamaji, kwa Bi Zuleha tumemaliza, lakini kwa wageni wangu hapa ndani ya studio nina dakika 8 kuweza kutamatisha kipindi hiki. Labda nirudi kwako Bi Betty kabla kuja kwake Mheshimiwa Mutua. Je, huyu mwanamke ambaye ananyonyesha, ni wakati gani hafai kumnyonyesha ule mtoto wake? Circumstances gani zitamfanya asinyonyeshe?
Zingine ziko very natural. Yes. Na mama labda anaweza kuwa mgonjwa, akawa alivyosema umepelekwa kwenye hospitali nyingine, but that is why we encourage aweze kufanya ile tunaita expressing the breast milk, ili mtoto aweze akapata, kwa sababu ya hali tatanishi pale nyumbani, labda kukakuwa na stress levels, kiwango cha maziwa kikaweza kuwa akimtoshi mtoto. Lakini sio ile ambayo wengi wanasema eti mimi naona kama mtoto wangu ashibi. You know, it's a demand supply, Alafu tunamhimiza mama breastfeed at what do you call it, wakati mtoto anahitaji mpe. Usiseme huyu nimemlisha tu dakika 20 iliyopita, kwa nini anataka nini? Anataka maziwa tena, mlishe on demand, breastfeed on demand. Tena wakati mwingine labda una madhara kama ya virusi ambavyo havijakuwa controlled, kwa hivyo kaambiwa na mhudumu wa afya kwamba kwa sasa hivi hatutaweza kumnyonyesha mtoto kwa sababu itakuwa hali ya hatari. Kuna wengine ambao let's say mtoto mwenyewe ako allergic to breast milk. It happens, very rare cases, lakini inafanyika. Kwa hivyo kama ni mambo kama hiyo, tunaweza tukaangalia jinsi nyingine ya kumlisha mtoto, ambayo most probably itakuwa ni breastfeeding supplementation, zile baby formulas, lakini nyingi zimefanywa uchunguzi na wakajua kwamba ni safe kumpatia mtoto, ila tu usimpe formula mtoto kama hauna sababu ya kutonyonyesha. Wengine wanasema kwamba labda wamerudi kazini mapema sana, na kwa hivyo ile muda ambao wamekaa mbali na mtoto ikafanya mtoto akapunguza ile kiwango cha maziwa, the production ikakuwa less. Kuna kile mheshimiwa alizungumza kuhusu, kuna wale wanasema wacha tumpe bottled milk. Wakati mwingine umeexpress na umeenda kazini na unataka kumpa bottled milk, unajua sasa ile tit kile kifaa cha kumpa mtoto maziwa kinatoa maziwa kwa hali ya juu haraka kushinda breast milk, so unafanya nipple confusion. Mtoto anaona ile nyingine inatoka haraka na hii ya kujinyonyea haitoki haraka, kwa hivyo ana prefer the bottle. Unafanya confusion, inaweza kumfanya mtoto aache kunyonya ile natural breastfeeding. Kwa hivyo use a cup and a spoon, kijiko na kikombe, ikiwa very clean, so that you don't introduce nipple confusion.
Asante. Na nikirudi kwako Mheshimiwa Mutua, muda wetu unatupiga kisogo. Nyinyi kama serikali ya kaunti ya Nairobi ni mojawapo ya kaunti katika taifa la Kenya ambalo lina idadi kubwa ya watu na pia vile pia wazazi. Je, mna mikakati gani ya kuandaa warsha, labda kufundisha wale wanawake ambao wanatarajia kuwa wajawazito ama wanatarajia kuzaa, process hizi mulete watu kama hawa wawafundishe?
Nairobi County tuna maafisa ambao wako na uzoefu mkubwa sana. Nafikiri Betty labda anajua wengine, na anajua kutajataja majina mali tulipo ya watu haifai, maana yake nitakuwa na wapigia ndebe na wako nituma ni wapigie ndebe. Lakini tukitoka hapa pale kando tukitoka kwa runinga nitaelezea Betty azungumze na wengine. Unaona vile ukiniangalia vile najibu maswali, kweli mimi kama mwanaume kama mimi lazima chini yangu nina watu wana uzoefu ambao nategemea. Unajua ukiona mtu akiwa mwerefu, si uwerefu sio peke yake, ameomba hapa na hapa, na kama ninazungumza hapa vitu zinaeleweka, ujue kuna watu wako nyuma yangu wananizungumzia na wakanitayarisha na kaniambia tuko na mpango. Na manake Betty hapa kuna kitu amesema ambaye singependa kusahau kusema, formula milks, maziwa hiyo ambayo watoto wa mama wana uzoefu kufikiri ya maziwa yana uwezo na inaweza ni badala ya breast milk, ambapo hiyo mali tunaelekea. Nataka watu waelewe, wewe unatarajia kuzaa, umezaa, una mpango wa kuolewa, upate mtoto, ujue siku za usoni breast milk, formula milks haitauzwa ovyo. Ukitoka hapa kwenda sehemu moja hapa town pasipo kutaja jina, utakuta maziwa kwa duka tu, lakini maziwa itakuwa inapeana kama dawa. Daktari kama Betty mwenyewe lazima apeseme unafaa kununua formula milk, sio kwenda tu ufikiri ni badala na ikupatie starehe zako za kushinda kazini, sijui ni nini. Watu utaka kurudi kazini kama umepewa miezi 4 unataka kurudi, sijui nani na unakimbia nini? Mbona unaacha urithi wako unaenda wewe mahali hapana urithi wako? Maana umesikia Mheshimiwa Zulei hapo amesema hakuna fidia kubwa kama kunyonyesha mtoto, na aliposema mtoto akinyonyeshwa anakuwa sana. Niliambiwa jana na wataalamu, manake uliponialika hapa sikutaka kuja hivi tu kama mtu ana mpango, lazima nije consult.
Ukimalizia
na malizia niliambiwa mtoto ambaye amenyonyeshwa vizuri kama hiyo miaka 2 hata tabia zake ni nzuri mtaani. Ametulia kama mimi, ametulia kama wewe, ametulia kama Betty. Ukiwa na maandamano umuoni pale na akiwa kwa maandamano ametulia. Kwa hivyo faida kunyonyesha, kuna faida kubwa sana. Na watu ambiwe hii mambo ya kununua formula basi imeisha, sio Panadol. Na mje Nairobi, hospitali ya Pumwani, Mama Lucy, Mutuini, Bagadi, msafiri hata kutoka Mombasa kwenu, waambie wale wajawazito waje, atubagui.
Asante mtazamaji, ni mada muhimu, haiishi leo kama alivyosema Betty. Hii ni wiki tu ya kuweza kutoa hamasisho, lakini swala hili litaendelea. Tutajitahidi kadiri ya uwezo wetu kukuletea wewe msikilizaji, mtazamaji, vipindi mbalimbali, tukiwaleta wageni kama hawa, hata kama ni vipindi vya dakika 2, dakika 3, dakika 4, ujue umuhimu wa swala hili. Kama tulivyoambiwa, urithi mkubwa ambao unaweza kumwachia mtoto wako ni kumnyonyesha vizuri. Mtazamaji, mimi nitamaliza na hili. Umoja wa Mataifa, ikiwa ni sehemu ya kampeni yake ya kila mwaka ya kuongeza viwango vya unyonyeshaji, unatoa wito wa kuungwa mkono zaidi kwa wanawake kunyonyesha mahali pa kazi. Ikilinganishwa na watoto wanaonyonyeshwa maziwa ya mama pekee, watoto ambao hawanyonyeshwi maziwa ya mama wana uwezekano wa kufa mara 14 kabla ya kutimiza mwaka mmoja, shirika la Umoja wa Mataifa limesema. Hivyo basi, Umoja wa Mataifa unatoa wito kwa kina mama kupewa likizo ya uzazi yenye malipo, mapumziko kwa ajili ya kunyonyesha na chumba maalum mahali pa kazi ambayo wanaweza kunyonyesha. Wamoi Masila, KBC tuna chumba maalum cha kunyonyesha. Shikilia hilo. Benzi mtazamaji, kufikia hapo sina budi kufunganya virago vyangu, lakini nakwambia Chan iko KBC. Leo ni siku ya 4 ya michuano hii, na kwa mara ya kwanza runinga KBC Channel 1 na Radio Taifa itakuletea michuano moja kwa moja kutoka uwanja wa New Aman Zanzibar nchini Tanzania, ambapo leo mabingwa watetezi kuanzia saa 2 jioni Senegal watapambana na Nigeria. Kumbuka pia kuna mechi itakujia mubashara kupitia saa 11 jioni. Tunasema wageni wangu, nikisema Chan mnasema Chan iko KBC, Chan iko home. Chan
iko KBC, Chan iko home.
Very good. Chan
iko KBC, Chan iko home.
Hata mimi nasema Chan iko KBC, iko home. Asante sana Abase Wamoi Masila na Nancy Kemto kwa kutayarisha kipindi hiki. Asanteni sana wapiga picha wangu, na waelekeze upande wa pili wa studio na kuregesha upande wa pili wa studio, ambapo mwenzangu Cynthia Anyango ameshikilia tu kidogo kwa ajili ya taarifa ya habari. Hadi Jumanne ijayo, jina langu naitwa Rashid Mwamkondo, mchezaji wa kulipwa wa Harambee Stars na sio Starlet. Kwaherini.
Hello dear Kenyans, my name is Hussein Mohammed, FKF President. I take this opportunity to welcome you to enjoy the CHAN competitions as East Africa hosts this prestigious tournament. Come out in large numbers and support our Harambee Stars. Catch all the games on KBC Channel 1.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Good Morning Kenya, and this is our health segment. And our colleague, rather my colleague Rashid, was also just doing the same thing, talking matters health as this is World Breastfeeding Week, and they have really tackled that topic the way it should be tackled. And right now we are getting into another different conversation, still matters health, but a whole other conversation, but it's still on women health, and that is a uterine fibroids. We're going to be looking all around uterine fibroids, getting to understand what exactly it is, what causes it, what are some of the symptoms, does it interfere with a woman's fertility? All of that will be answered right here by our doctor in studio today, and that is none other than Dr. Sarah Mora. Dr. Sarah Mora is a general health practitioner, and she has over 16 years experience in general practice. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Vivian. Always an honor to be here.
It is a pleasure to have you on the show. And you know, we got to celebrate Fibroids International Awareness Month for fibroids last month.
Yes.
And as I was saying, it doesn't have a timeline. Such conversations should not be boxed into a specific month. So that is the reason why we've carried it over, and we are actually starting the month of August with the same conversation. So how about we just dive straight into it? Let's first understand, what are fibroids? Some people call it fibroids.
Yes.
Potato, potato.
Yes, so potato, potato. As long as we have understood each other, it is well. So first of all, it's important for us to recognize that these health awareness programs are very useful, and consistent speaking about them is very important, because we save people from a lot of things that you know, can hamper their life, that there's a solution for. So straight into fibroids. So fibroids is a condition that it's a medical condition that affects the uterus, and it affects the uterus in different positions. So what happens? There is growth that occurs within the uterus and can be outside the uterus. But unlike a cancer, because fibroids is non-cancerous, it's one cell that mutates. Unlike cancers where it's several cells that mutate, it's one cell that mutates and causes that growth. And within that growth, it can either be found inside the lining of the uterus, called the endometrium. It can be found within the walls, or it can be found outside the uterus. And some of it can hang, like it can actually be like a seed, what we call a hanging or pedunculated fibroid. So it has a stem of itself, and it comes out onto the abdominal wall. And those are the ones that you can see can affect something else outside what the uterus is functioned to do.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, you mentioned that it is non-cancerous at all.
Yes.
But I don't know if this is a misconception. Can it develop to become cancerous?
So cancer from what we call a leiomyoma, which is what is a fibroid, is very rare. You have very low percentages, perhaps even less than 0.1% that develop into cancerous lesions. So when we get fibroids, our biggest concern is not that. Our concern is how then do we manage the things that, what is the fibroid doing at you, or on your body, is what we try to manage, because we don't think it will actually go to be cancerous from then. Yes.
All right. Now, looking at just how common fibroids are to women, like it is really, really common. Actually, study shows that by the time a woman gets to 50 years, 80% of women have gotten fibroids at some point in their lives or are battling it.
Yes.
So it is quite common.
Yes.
Why is it this common, and specifically to the black woman?
So,
because black women are more susceptible.
Yes. So one of the things that we must know about the fibroid, it responds to what naturally women have, which is estrogen and progesterone. So every cycle you have estrogen, progesterone. As we are right now, we are producing estrogen for us to be called women. Absolutely. So that's why, number one, it's very common, because fibroids respond and are made to grow or rapidly grow because in the presence of estrogen and progesterone. So that's why it's common. And then secondly, why black people, it's a genetic thing. Because you know, there are things that black people don't get, diseases. I used to love it in undergraduate. There are pages in the book of medicine I did not have to get to, because they will not affect black people. Until now, maybe you leave the borders of Africa, is when now you start realizing that some diseases are actually there. We used to just see them on textbook. So that is just what I call the balance balance of medicine. Genetics can protect you from certain diseases and can make other diseases be able to show up in a race.
Prone.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So commonly then you'll see that the black woman, statistically the unfortunate thing is that research is not helping us because most people don't do research in such things. Because we have so many female gynecologists, we have so many female doctors, female researchers, but this space is very wanting. I guess it's because, as we discuss, we'll see, it's not a very big threat to what doctors can manage when it comes to fibroids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get into this causes of fibroids.
Yes.
What exactly causes it? I know you've said research is still wanting in this area, but do we have specific things that we know cause fibroids apart from the hormones and maybe genetics?
So one of the biggest things still remains the hormonal imbalances, right? And so when we look at a person with fibroids, the first thing is that we're checking where is the exposure to hormones. They've naturally then told us things like some diets can cause that, but again, like I say, we have to be very careful when studies are not being done very well. So it does still remain hormonal exposure. So let's talk about hormonal exposure. Other than a hormonal imbalance, maybe you have a hormonal imbalance problem. The other thing would be medications or things that contain estrogen, progesterone, that will now increase. So I'm actually talking about your contraception. It's a double-edged sword. And one day we'll talk about the contraception because I feel that there's a lot of misnomer in contraception when it comes to Africa. We need to discuss that and let people know why contraceptions are there. Because we prevent one thing, we expose another. So there are a few myths in the causes of that. There are a lot of people who say when you're pregnant, that could make it worse. Actually, it's the other way around. So pregnancy has been shown and breastfeeding have been shown to make it minimize or reduce even the symptoms of that time. Of course, we have the few percentages who that may not happen, but it is very high chances of reducing and minimizing even the effects of the fibroids on the body of a person. So still, estrogen and progesterone are the causes, the ones that we can take to the bank.
Yeah, so too much of estrogen.
Too much of estrogen and progesterone, which is mostly medication that will cause that. What does stress do to you? Because again, stress does hormonal imbalances on its own. Stress now causes a disproportionate increase in hormones that suppress estrogen. So it could go either way. So it's just the symptoms of fibroids that become worse with stress.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, there's no way we are escaping mental health, awareness and, just ensuring that your mental health is in check because it brings about so many things. I never thought of fibroids being part of, something that, mental or stress would elevate or make it worse.
Yes.
Interesting.
It's very interesting because a lot of people, like I say, a lot of mental health challenges are lost in the medical field. Just like I said, a lot of healing miracles are lost in the medical field. So most people don't realize that these are women who are struggling because of just merely the presence of seeing me, and I demystify things. Stress levels of a woman jump from sky high to close to zero. And you start seeing symptoms even alleviating on themselves. And some of them, the fibroids actually disappear. Yes. Yes.
All right. So speaking about some of them getting to disappear sometimes, is there a way that one can actually work around protecting themselves from or preventing fibroids?
It's very hard because you're a woman, I'm a woman, we are women. So estrogen is the thing we have. So it's very difficult to say, oh, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to do this to present, there's no exercise, there's nothing now. The good thing I want to reassure somebody who's listening to us is when they come, we know what to do. So there's no prevention, they're just things that we work around to help facilitate a good life, whatever your good life looks like, whatever your normal life or even better. Because normal is relative, right? So you want excellent life for your personal self. So we have ways to mitigate that. So prevention is not something that you can. The only thing I can say is then contraception. Let us judiciously use that wisely. Let it not be a solution for things that require character development. Yes.
Okay. The symptoms, how does that look like? What are some of the symptoms that could tell that one has fibroids before even they get to be diagnosed?
So this is a woman who presents to you with abdominal pain as a common sign, and usually it's lower abdominal pain, and some of them will tell you, I feel like I want to urinate, there's no urine, or I feel like I've not finished urinating. That's a common sign for a fibroid. The other thing is pain during intercourse. Now, when I say pain during intercourse, I also want to intimate that pain can happen during intercourse when you are stressed. So we must tell the differences, and still those need to be seen by a professional, because you should not have pain during sex. The third thing that we see, this is a woman who comes with heavy menses, and some of them it's so heavy that it's heavy in between. So her normal cycle sometimes is prolonged, or she has a normal cycle at 28 to 30 days, but in between she has what we call breakthrough bleeding, so she's bleeding again. The bleeding can be very heavy. We're talking about people who can go as high as 7 pads a day, and a lot of clots. So they start now having clots being produced. The other thing that we see as a sign or a symptom of a person with fibroid is this is a woman who has miscarriages, consistently having a miscarriage. That's one thing we check, and we're sure, okay, we have to eliminate fibroids as a cause, or even just inability to conceive, which is infertility. So those are some of the things we see. Constipation, heaviness, there are people who just feel bloated. There's another one that is rarely talked about, is a very moody lady. I want to say this to us, and I'm glad it's us. Ladies, please, there's no room for moodiness. It's not okay.
But isn't it part of our day? Isn't it part of our day-to-day because of our hormones? Or this is just something we say to
just say you want your chocolate and you want flowers. It's okay to want to be cared for, and I think women, we should not shy away from that, because some of the moodiness is lack of a companion, and 99.99% of women must get married. You need a friend, you need a companion you can trust. So some of this moodiness, when you get them, please rule out physical problem, psychological problem before anything else. Yes, get good friends, get a good friend, and more so get somebody who's a companion and get married. You need somebody to whisper things to, you know? Yeah, so moodiness is not okay. And I also want to say this, pain during periods is also not okay. Let's not be comfortable with that.
And that is something we've really normalized, because it's the usual. I just know that during my periods on the first day, I have to get those cramps, you know, so it's not normal.
But let's not normalize pathology, because it's not normal to have painful periods. It's not normal to be moody during that time either, and it's also not okay when you're unwell for people to say, yeah, they're in pain so they can be moody. There are some things, let me say this, human beings are so layered that the presence of a disease, and fibroids is a disease, and let me explain what I mean by disease. It comes and interrupts your ease. So whenever somebody is unwell and they're moody, most people chalk it down to fibroid pain, their heavy menses, but I have found when we bring them into counseling, mental health counseling, we achieve much more than just merely getting in there and dealing with what they did. One of the things I advise my colleagues as medical doctors and even counselors, anyone in the healthcare profession, is when we finish with a patient, we leave them with their issue. I leave you with what it is. You walk out of my office with what you have. I know there's a solution, and no one belittles disease, but when you leave my office, you live with what this thing came to do in your life. You live with the changes it brought in your life. You live with the disruption, because absenteeism, the financial, economical, social impact that it has on a woman. We leave them with that. So when I now started moving and adding that as a medical doctor and a counselor, I noticed that this helps a lot when we deal with patients, especially on things we medical practitioners think is very simple.
Okay,
yes.
Okay, so that counseling is also just as important as medication for any other,
yes.
problem that one may be going through.
Yes.
Okay, there's something you touched on, which is very important when you talk about matters fibroids, and that is infertility and fibroids, or fertility and fibroids. Where is the correlation?
So, one of the things is that it's not obviously a lead, it's not one is equals to another, but there are some types of fibroids. Remember, I had talked about the location of the fibroids. So some fibroids, let's now assume that I am now going to demonstrate how a fibroid looks like. So my body is the womb, my hands are the fallopian tube, and my fingers are where the ovaries are. So if they are here, you can see the junction of the womb and the fallopian tube, they can crush, or rather they can pinch on or press on the fallopian tube, and that causes infertility. If they are also inside the womb and at the junction here, also cause the same. If they are in the inner lining of the uterus and they are large, there is no space for implantation of the fertilized egg, that causes infertility. So that's how it causes infertility. It's not directly challenging ovulation. It challenges the transport, it challenges the implantation of the egg on there. Yes.
So that's how it gets to affect a woman's fertility.
Yes.
Hence, what you had mentioned earlier about the miscarriages, because it compares, or it depends on where that fibroid has attached itself in the womb, or in the uterus.
Yes.
So if it's somewhere where the baby is supposed to attach, then it causes an issue, because now there's a problem in this. Is it called an embryo?
Yes.
Yeah. The embryo growing, and know this also being there, so that's what causes the miscarriages.
Yes, because you remember it has to attach onto the surface. And the reason is that in the endometrial lining, which is what you menstruate, so when people menstruate, it is normal. Menstruation is not a bad thing. So when it attaches, it is looking for a place to get nutrients, and the fibroid doesn't have that. So then again, even if it attaches onto the fibroid, it's likely to abort, and the miscarriage is what we have.
Okay.
Yes,
so for a young lady who's watching us, or for a woman who's still in her childbearing age and still wants to get children or conceive, and they've just found out that they have fibroids.
Yes.
Should this be alarming? Given the explanation that you've just given, should this be a cause for alarm?
Most fibroids are incidental findings, so they're asymptomatic. So you'll go there, maybe you're pregnant, or you're trying to get pregnant, or you're putting in an intrauterine device, which is contraception. Then you find, oh, okay, I do have a fibroid. So number one thing is no cause for alarm, because remember I said that the interventions that we have are already there, so you should not be concerned about it. Then we're looking at size. So size depends on what outcomes we're looking at when you're young. And remember, yes, that the younger people have chances of recurrence, but still we have ways to which we can intervene. And we do take you back to what is fairly normal. So fairly normal for you will be the ability to give birth. Like fibroids is, I know that there are cases where that is not been the case, but we have many more positive outcomes with fibroids than we have negative outcomes, without belittling the negative outcomes. So that information I would give to a young lady while she in my office and was speaking about this.
Yeah.
Yes.
What causes the recurring of it? Say you've had these fibroids, they were removed, and then now, after a couple of years, then it's now back. What is there? Is there research that is surrounding that? What causes the recurring of it?
So it's just the hormones. You see, again, your estrogen is still present. You're still alive with estrogen, and I think maybe when you get into menopause, that's now less likely to be an issue. But mostly it's your hormones. So at a younger, why even a lot? Can I tell you one of the most strangest studies that was suggested? Because sexually activity in women in Africa is more, and then use of more contraception, which is more estrogen. So, I mean, that's still out there. I mean, if you look at Africa generally, more children are actually born in Africa. So, I mean, the statistics for birth rates are going down in Africa because most people are now using contraception. And we're talking about now pills especially. Yes.
Yeah. We definitely should create time to talk about contraception. Maybe that should be our next conversation. You know, I'm sure my producer is listening to this. So, yeah, we'll create time for that.
Look forward
so
to
that we can get deeper into that, because you've mentioned it quite a number of times. So, say for a lady who is asymptomatic, right? So she has the fibroids, but they don't do nothing to her. She does not get the painful periods. She does not get the abdominal pain. You know, her menses are just normal. She does not have heavy menses. And all those symptoms that you got to talk about, there's nothing. Probably just her knowing there's something that is swelling in me, and she's already gone and found out it's a fibroid, but it does nothing to her. So are there risks to untreated fibroids if she decides, I don't feel like I should treat it if it's not doing anything to me? Are there risks to that?
Do you know in medicine we have watch and wait even for fibroids that we've already gotten? Yeah, we have that watch and wait. So if somebody is listening to me and the doctor is doing nothing, we will say Dr. Mbaya. There is watch and wait, because these things can dissolve on its own. So while you are asymptomatic, I would also be asymptomatic to their presence. I would not care. I would do watch and wait. So what does that look like? Women, please, part of your empowerment should be annual medical checkups. And part of your annual checkups is you have a pap smear and you have an ultrasound. All right? So those things will help you follow up yearly how you're progressing. So I will not be concerned about them. Yes, we'll just take it by the year. And when you get pregnant, which you can, please feel free to carry that baby to term. Feel free to agree with your womb that it has the capacity to carry the baby to term. Even if the fibroid grows with a child, because sometimes it can, you don't have to worry, because as soon as you start breastfeeding, that thing shrinks and we take it out for you so that there's no risk of it regrowing into a bigger. And there are some we don't even touch after breastfeeding. And it's exclusive breastfeeding. And then you just notice it shrinks. Then we deal with it from there. If it starts to grow, we deal with it from a smaller level. And that should be okay.
Yeah. Yes. And I get why you're saying research is a bit underwhelming when it comes to fibroids. And your explanation was maybe because it's not of much concern. This is something that can be dealt with. You know, we've had celebrities who've come up to talk about matters fibroids. For example, Lupita Nyong'o is a big advocate on fibroids, and she keeps fighting for, let us get funding in order for us to do more research on this thing that is affecting most Black women. But I get your point when you say it's not as alarming. It can be alarming, yes, but there's something that can be done.
Yes, there's something that can be done. And then also I also say, you can put money in a place, but if you don't have an enthusiastic researcher, it will be skewed research. You know, people can come up with any hypothesis and fund it. So what I then advise people to do when it comes to certain researches, because funding is available should an enthusiastic researcher be present. So the reason why people are not going in there again, just to reiterate, is there's a solution. Yeah, there's a solution.
Yeah, and you say, are there times when they can just disappear? Shrink and melt away?
Person comes in, oh, the fibroids are this.
Is that what we call miracle, or there's science to it?
Now, let me tell you science to it. And it is a miracle, but let me tell you the science to it. The human capability. Let's use a term that people know. The best revenge is success. If you decide that your ex-boyfriend is going to see you successful, you will be, whether it's good success or bad, but you have made up your mind. It's the same thing with the human body. If you decide this disease is taking me nowhere, these things will happen. Medicine is, they tell us bodies don't read books. There's just a science to consistency of the things that we see, which is evidence-based medicine. But the evidence, remember I was saying that miracles are lost in the medical place, because there are people who come and they've not taken concoctions, they've not taken anything, they've just believed this thing. If you decide to stay, it will not affect me, but it will leave my body in any which way, and they shrink.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. And I love that coming from a doctor.
Yes.
That, you know, miracles do happen.
They do. And imagine even if we read for so long, we're not primarily too attached with the medical aspect of life. And this is what I also want to tell somebody who is saying that they know that as they go, and you better have faith for it. Don't just say something in a corner, you're stressed. It will not happen. But we are seeing it, and there are doctors like me who believe in that, who have seen it happen, from cancer to all sorts of diseases, where a patient has come back and we're like, wow, you're serious. I met a lady whose womb regrew. Story for another day.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Yes.
What do you mean? Like the womb was taken out?
Yes, she had had an abortion that failed. The womb came out. And subsequently later, she had a womb.
Wow,
I
got
know.
stories to share.
That's what I said. In the medical office, we see things. It's unfortunate that we don't publicize such things. Yes.
Okay. All right. We should be taking a break, but even before, I know we have a minute to the break. Let's talk concoctions, because when it comes, when we talk matters fibroids, not necessarily just fibroids, but just as Africans, you'll always find someone who's telling you, I have a concoction for that. You don't need to go to hospital, do you? I have a concoction that can heal that.
Yes. Now, luckily, you found a doctor who is not at the singanganangi in Western medicine. If an alternative is there, please, let's go. The problem I have with concoction is that they are medicine.
All right, I'll ask you to hold that thought. Let's take the break, and then we'll come back and continue with this conversation. Don't go too far.
Ladies and gentlemen, the stage is set for CHAN 2024. Please watch out for every thrilling goal, every breathtaking moment on our radio stations, on our TV platform, and all on our social media pages. CHAN Iko KBC.
Thank you for staying with us. In case you're just joining us, we are talking matters uterine fibroids, and my doctor in studio today is Dr. Sarah Mora. So, Doc, before we took that break, we were just talking about the concoctions.
Yes.
That there seems to be a solution for everything, you know, every medical problem. So, concoctions for fibroids, do you advise? Do you not?
No, I don't advise. And I want to take this back to medical practice. Let's first start with that. When the ones who are studying pharmacists to become pharmacists study something called pharmacognosy. To them, it's cognosy, and it's about plants. Medicine comes from plants. What we've just done is packaged it and given it a nice rosy tablet look or capsule look. But it's a plant origin, and then they just put things on top there. So the plants that you're going to use as a concoction are medicinal. So some of them are supposed to they will end up causing bleeding because they attack the platelets. Some of them will end up causing kidney and liver disease because it's medication. For example, let me just make it into a simpler thing, which we both use every day. Okay, I don't use, but paracetamol, that's common use. Paracetamol, this is Panadol. The consistent use of Panadol affects your liver. Now, on top of alcohol, it makes it worse. And liver failure is now something we are now seeing knocking in Africa quite a lot because of over-the-counter medication.
Oh, boy.
And we are also seeing that, because remember, I'm such a champion of medicine that I go for medical camps in the rural and in the marginalized communities. And they use concoctions, and they still end up with liver failure because there's that mixture and not understanding what to do. So let's talk about the herbalist or the person who is selling these things. My biggest concern is there's no apprenticeship for Mitishamba. There is no one who has sat down, like we do 6 years and 12 years on top. People study medicine for 17 years also. You have not sat under become a good apprentice for you to know if you mix this and you mix that, it will not work. So a lot of people can come in with liver issues and kidney issues because of that concoction. Leave alone on top of that the interaction of what we call drug interactions between that concoction and any other medication you are taking. So no one has sat to do that good apprentice to understand. So we are not nullifying traditional medicine. I am boldly saying there is no apprenticeship. So somebody can sit down and concoct something because there is no research to the end. There is no legal bind to the end. It works for you as a placebo effect. Remember I said placebo effect is the same thing. I decide revenge, the best success is, the best revenge is success. If I swallow a Panadol, like let me give you a simplest example. If people had a headache and as soon as they put Panadol and they swallow it, the headache has gone. That's not it. That's placebo. So these concoctions work for the same reason. I have hyped it. It has been hyped. Your psychological part is accepting that that is the solution. And I think sometimes on the higher level it's manipulative. Because most of the time we find people who wamefika mwisho, there is no solution to this thing. So then what you're offering them is the only choice they have. And it might work, but we don't know that at the end of the day.
What else is it causing?
That a lot of people come with kidney and liver issues from there. Yes.
Interesting, and it's a good thing that we have you here so that you've put it out there for someone who probably believes in them and they just don't know what else it's doing to them.
And remember, we're not even interfering with traditional medicine. We are strongly saying, please, these things be well researched. Because even when how do we know Panadol works for pain? We researched. We know the side effects. We don't know to the end. And I agree with somebody who's doing traditional medicine. But you're still very limited in what that concoction is that you're mixing that is not coming out well. And it's actually detrimental to a patient, having now from traditional sending them to westernized medicine from that. So we have no problem with traditional medicine. Yes.
Well put, well put. Now, concoctions aside, what are the treatment options available for fibroids?
So when we talk about treatment, in the end is surgery. What we do in between alleviates or reduces temporarily before we think of surgery. So should they disappear, we don't need to operate. So common things then we use are pills that are hormonal pills, but they work differently. And these hormonal pills target where the primary source of hormones are built up, called the pituitary gland. So most of them target so that estrogen is reduced in the production. But this is temporary, remember, so that we get to seeing, were they too big and we have shrunk them for surgery, or is it a wait and see? So it's not a permanent solution for those. So surgical interventions, one is you remove the fibroid alone, which is myomectomy. Two is you remove the uterus and the cervix, because remember, cervical cancer is the #1 cause of death in Kenya and in Africa. Pap smears, guys, please do. And then the other type that we do that is non-invasive is we use sounds or laser to try and shrink and cause death or embolization, which causes death within the fibroids, for it to shrink and just disappear. But outside all these other things, outside hysterectomy, which is the removal of the uterus and the cervix, these ones have chances of recurrence. Yes, so you might have gone, they've removed just the fibroid its own, but it can still recur. But we'll still go back in and remove.
It
yes,
again.
that's why we're doing laparoscopically. Instead of long time, we used to have to open the woman up. But now we do laparoscopically, which gives minimal scarring.
Yeah. For someone who's had that word for the first time, laparoscopy, what is it? What are you doing? Because you're not cutting, you know, the way you used to cut back in the day. So how is it done?
So it's actually telescopic, where we use instruments, small piped instruments, and even we make incisions that are very small, so they can be this size. And then we find ways in the umbilicus, like places where it's hidden. So inside the umbilical cord, or maybe under where the bikini line is, for minimal scarring. Because before we used to cut, or if they are big, we used to cut the whole midline. So that's what I mean by laparoscopic, is that we just use instruments that can telescopically tell us how we can operate without the surgeon entering inside the abdomen directly. Yes, so that's the minimal invasive type. Embolization is also something we do that's also minimally invasive. We just cause the fibroid to die, if you like, and then it shrinks off and dissolves.
Using laser?
No, it's just, we use like chemicals.
Okay.
And then there's also laser. There's also ultrasound. Perhaps then one of the things would be you enter a machine like a CT scanner, MRI. Mostly it's an MRI, and then it zeroes in on where the fibroid is located, and then that's the only place we hit it with the sound, and then it actually dissolves.
And that is like a new discovery in Kenya specifically?
So for Kenya, yes, new, but it's been there for long. Remember, the challenges that we have are usually financial. So, and then let me say this. So we shouldn't now then go out there and say that we now want these things brought here, because remember what I said, recurrence. Yeah, so I mean, there still will be a recurrence with that one.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not that, oh, this one now will completely nullify fibroids. No. It's just not invasive. And remember, I said there are other minimally invasive ways to deal with the fibroids already present.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Are there any risks to the treatment options that you've given? Of course, the removal of a uterus has its own effects.
Yes.
But are there any maybe side effects?
So when I remove the uterus, I send you immediately to menopause. So you do become menopausal, so you also cannot give birth. Then, you know, hot flashes, osteoporosis then becomes a challenge right there. But let's talk also about myomectomy. The biggest thing is recurrence, and therefore sometimes the recurrence is unpleasant, so that the fibroids can even become bigger and then cause more symptoms, so the heavy bleeding, infertility because of size. So those are the things that we are seeing in terms of side effects. So even scarring. So after I've done surgery and then the healing causes scarring, it can scar. Remember, my armpits were the junction between the fallopian tube and the uterus. It can cause scarring at that level, and then, but we have surgical interventions to that. So it's not that we are stuck with that scarring. We have ways around it. Yeah, so those are the most common concerns that patients will have: recurrence and symptoms worsening with infertility.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Beautifully, beautifully explained, Dr. Mora. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Probably just your last remarks. That's your camera.
Yes.
You can just speak to the camera and just, you know, talk to a woman out there who's battling fibroids.
Yes.
Yeah.
So to you who's listening to me, a woman out there diagnosed with fibroids, recovering from a diagnosis of fibroids, I want to let you know that despite minimal research, you are important. Number two, the presence of fibroids in your life does not change your value. Number three, there is a solution. You just need to find where it is. Number four, solutions being there does not mean you run to any type of solutions. Number five, we care for you here at KBC. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was a pleasure getting to have you on the show, getting to just have you grace our show today. I do appreciate.
Thank you. It's an honor to be of service.
All right. This is where we get to end this particular conversation. That was Dr. Sarah Mora, who is a general health practitioner with over 16 years of experience. And this is where we get to end this conversation, as well as Good Morning Kenya, this beautiful cold Tuesday. Do stay warm and enjoy the rest of your viewing. See you tomorrow, same time, and please, God willing. Goodbye.
Hello, dear Kenyans. My name is Usain Mohammed, FKF President. I take this opportunity to welcome you to enjoy the CHAN competitions as East Africa hosts this prestigious tournament. Come out in large numbers and support our Harambee Stars. Catch all the games on KBC Channel 1.
A grown woman who we took abroad to study, then she decides to get a baby and keep it a secret for God knows how long.
Don't owe you any explanation.
Are you Chris?
Unajua mimi ni nani? If you don't let me go right now, my friend, you are in trouble.
You need to come back. I feel like something bad is gonna happen.
Itisha alafu nilalishwe chini, wacha ikae.
I want to go home.
You don't get it. You don't get it.
I don't trust her one bit.
Lucky, right? Relax.
With over 1 billion users, TikTok is a worldwide success. But governments are concerned as TikTok belongs to a Chinese company. Could the Chinese government have access to our data and use the platform to manipulate us? Is TikTok the ultimate propaganda tool?